कोई कोई सी बातें हैं हो हो कहने को जश्न बहारा है जश्न बहारा है इश्क ये देख कह रहा है फूल से खुशबू खफा खफा है इश्क ये देख कह रहा है फूल से खुशबू खफा खफा है गुलशन में छुपा है कोई रंज फिजा की चमन में Hello, Helga Sanchez. Welcome to the stream. Sorry, I'm a little bit late because I got home right at 6, and then Streamlabs decided that they were going to update the software immediately. So I am just making sure everything is up to date, running properly. The light is blocking the chat. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. Now I can see the chat. Ooh, chat's big. I think that's fine. That's fine, right? I think that's fine. Let me see if I can edit the chat box to do less chunky. How about boxed? Not boxed. Let's do clean. Does clean work? No. Twitch? Okay, Twitch works. That shows the usernames and the words. Perfect. Today, I'm building the butthole tiger. Today's the day, building the butthole tiger. Let's get this build cam set up so that we can hopefully see exactly what we need to see. And you can see that my desk right now is lightsaber parts. Oh gosh. If you've been following on TikTok, which of course you have, my lightsaber is broken. It's been broken since the day I got it. But with the help of Jedi Master Alan, I have been trying to diagnose the problem. And the problem is the black cables. So this black cable is supposed to connect the charger to everything else. That broke while inside the lightsaber, and then this black cable, which is supposed to connect the light to everything else, broke also while it was in the saber. So he is going to help me out in fixing this. I think he's going to send me some parts. And then I will have a working Lego lightsaber. Yes. You know what? I did not realize that I would be making that today. So let's make one right now while we get started. How about that? Does anyone remember the piece number? Let me check the instructions actually, and we can find the piece number. Screen share 1? That's the one. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. When? It is piece 6209679. So let's see if we can find that. Oh, perfect, 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 perfect. Let's find a picture that we can trace just to get it perfect. This seems a bit on the nose. I want a nice isotropic one. How about this? How about this one? Let's start with this. Ooh, can we get a bigger one? Nah, same size. Okay, copy that. And we will open up Illustrator. What? Why am I not signed into Adobe? Did they... Did work cancel my Adobe subscription? Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Okay. Let me unshare my screen real quick. And we are going to, well, I am going to see if I still have Adobe. I should still have Adobe. I don't know why I wouldn't. Sign in. Google. My work Google. I had to open up my work account. This better work. If work canceled my Adobe, then no more new emotes. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, I updated my software, and now Adobe thinks this is a new computer, so it signed me out. Because you dropped your phone, Podius, I can see what you're doing. I can see where you are and what you're doing. Okay. All right, let's add a layer and lock this one, just for funsies. And you know what? I'm gonna show you how I make all of my emotes. I start with a real Lego brick, and then I just trace it out. So we're gonna make this a color that we can see. How about a blue to contrast with the pink? And then I just trace them. And that's all I do. I know, I'm a hack, but it makes it super duper easy. And I have to I'm gonna move my build camera. Since y'all aren't looking at my build camera, I'm gonna move it. Do I have my wizard hat here? I don't have my wizard hat here. Okay, that's fine. That's all good. In the neighborhood. Da, 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 da. Then we'll just center those. Boom. Nice and symmetrical. That, and then we'll have a slightly bigger one at the bottom. And then we're just going to turn these all into shapes. It's going to be a good time. Do some rectangles to make sure all these are connected. Boom. This rectangle. That should be enough for that. The hard part then is going to be these petals. How do I make sure these petals? AOB in properly in about 10 minutes. Just finishing up this Doctor Who I'm watching. It's very bad, but I gotta be finished. Is it that? Okay. Tell us about it when you get back. Enjoy the Doctor Who. Tell us about it when you get back. I think if I just render these, let's see here. I think I can do this as just showing the two sides and adding in artificial corners. I think that's what I can do. Okay. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. And we'll do a rectangle just to connect these two together. And I'm gonna be lazy and I'm only gonna do one side, but and then I'm gonna, do I want to do these as straight or do I want to do them as curved? I think for the front one, I'm gonna do it as straight. Da, 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 da. Nah, straight's not gonna work. I'll do it as curve. Okay. Da, da, na, da, na, 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 na. Ooh, actually, I'll do this as an arc. Dan. I put this here and then just drag this up. None of the bags are numbered. Wait, what are you building? What set did I just open? You just opened a set with no numbered bags. 10 bags, 784 pieces, and no numbers on the bag. Feels classic. It does feel classic, doesn't it? Is it a classic? Did you open up a classic? Okay. I feel like this is a good curve. This is a good curve. Thank you for resubbing Super Chunks. Welcome back. It's new. Huh. Is it? I mean, classic is one of the themes, so it can be new and classic at the same time. But yeah, let me know. And then I'm gonna do this as an oval. The side petal as an oval. Yeah. Yeah. It's a 2-in-1. So maybe that's why it doesn't have numbered bags, because for one of the models the bags are in one bag, and for another model the bags are in another bag. So you got to have, two sets of numbered bags, I guess. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. Okay, this isn't bad. This isn't a bad approximation, I think. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Okay. I don't like those curves. I'm going to expand those curves a little bit. Just real quick. Just. Okay. Just like that a little bit. And then this one a little bit. Just like that. Oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And then I'm going to take this, move it down. There we go. There we go. And we'll get another curve just to connect the two. This is looking good. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I think we can smooth that out later. We can smooth that out later. Okay. Isn't the classic theme just tubs of pieces? No. So the classic theme now has multiple builds in it. So it'll come with an ideas book, but the ideas book, if you build what's in the ideas book, you're using all the pieces. So they do come with instructions for all of the pieces. Maybe I didn't notice the non-numbered in 3-in-1. Well, we can take a look at that right now, because the tiger is a 3-in-1. I'm doing great. Currently in the middle of another big set. Nice. Okay. So this is going to be our flower petals on both sides. So I'm just going to copy paste it over and rotate it. Transform, reflect, horizontal. And I'm just going to line it up as closely as possible. That seems about right. And then we'll do the top petals here. Top petals I'll just do real simple. Real simple. Da, 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 da. I've never looked into the classic theme. That's really cool. It is. I like when people come into the store and they're just asking for a box of bricks, we always just take them to classic, because that's going to be the closest to a box of bricks, right? We don't have anything that's completely free range, but it's not too bad. I'm just going to use a circle. No, I'm not going to use a circle. I'll do a curve. Okay. Oops. Okay. All right. I think this will give us all of the lines and curves that we need for our flower. Transform, reflect. Okay. Now we're going to build a shape out of it. This is where the fun part is. So I'm going to start with, actually no, I'll sort of sculpt it as we go and sort of do like a front to back style dealy. So this is going to be the front edge of our front petal, and then this is going to be the top edge of our front petal. There we go. This is going to be the side edge of our side petal. And this, ooh, okay, hold on, let me include these in here. Let me include these in here. There we go. That should, make sure I got, I didn't get everything, okay. Get all these, make sure that these are all in the same shape. Make sure these are all in the same shape, perfect. Da, 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 da. Swipe that open, and then this is going to be this top petal. Da, da, da. Okay, and then we're going to do this top petal. Oh, I'm just seeing now I didn't do the sides correctly, but it's fine. When this is emote sized, then you won't be able to see it. It's fine. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. That's done, and we'll do the back pedal, and we'll do this back pedal, and we'll do this back pedal, and now for the top. Da, 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 da. I'm sure there's like an easier way of doing this if I was like a Adobe master, but I'm not. So I'm just doing it my way, the way that I've always done. We are making, or I am making, an emote to go along with the set that we're building today. Which is this flower piece. So I'm just making a cartoon version of this that we can then turn into the flower. And now we need the bottom part. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. And that's it. There it is. There's our outline. We'll hide that. Ooh, that looks good. That looks good. We're going to make the stroke nice and big. It's a little bit too big. And we'll make it rounded as well. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, if that's what we're calling it. If that's what we're calling it. So here it is. Here it is. I'm going to actually simplify these and see if we can get some of the details erased automatically. Nah, it's fine. Okay. So we're going to make this all... Do I have a pink that I can use? I don't have a pink that I can use. Let's find a nice pink. It's got to be pastel-y to match all the other ones. That's a little bit too vibrant. How about that? And then the fill will be that. And we have, let's just fill that in. And, I see. I need to, this has too many outlines. Gotta get rid of some of those. Okay. And now recenter this and make it a little bit more narrow. Okay. I like it. I like it. Make it a little bit more narrow on the top. Okay. And then these ones are also going to be, can I just do this? Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I like the sort of dimensionality in it. And these are going to be the same. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, I think that this is a successful bee-hole piece. Everyone calling it what it is. That's what it is. That's what the designer said it was. So, you know, can't really argue with that, right? Okay, we'll make it nice and big so that we can scale it down later. Save it to the computer with my Twitch stuff. Videos, Twitch overlay. This is going to be it. This is going to be the bee-hole. Yeah, it's only, in this context, it is a bee-hole. If we make a bouquet, you can use this as a flower later. Or if we make a really tiny train, you can use this as a wheel with spokes. I'm going to see, can I bring this forward? Yeah. Okay. Actually, can I do that? Yes. Oh, even better. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Save it, save it. All right, now let's export as a PNG. Now, who knows off the top of their head what size emotes need to be for Twitch? Yeah, it's a bow for a gift. That works too. Okay, let's go to Twitch and let's see here, viewer rewards. Emotes. Standard emote. Oh, I need to create a new emote here. Standard emote. Okay, so we need 112 pixels. Okay, so we'll close this and we will open up our Twitch overlay. And we're going to open this up in Photoshop and make sure that it is exactly 212 pixels. Because, I don't know, when Photoshop and Illustrator export stuff, it's always like 1 pixel off, and then Twitch is like, no, it needs to be the exact pixel number. So I think this is a square already, but let's adjust this canvas size just to make sure that it is a square, which it's not. So we will make it 638 by 638, and we will anchor it in the middle so the b-hole stays nice and center. Perfect. And now we're gonna make it size. I forget. We're gonna make it not that. We're gonna make it upload new standard emote 112 pixels. Perfect. Save, close, upload, Twitch overlay, b-hole emote. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Yes, we got it. What should we call it? Let's call it hole. I'm gonna call it ol. So it's AKLD hole. That's what it's gonna be. And it looks good in dark mode, it looks good in light mode. Upload. Perfect. Let's add. Follower remote uploads are currently disabled on your account because I don't have instant upload eligibility. Why don't I have instant upload eligibility? Oh, that's for partners. Okay. No, affiliates. Stream at least 60 days as an affiliate over... Yes, I've done that. Days do not have to be sequential. Have I not streamed for 60 days? Okay. Can't add it as a free emote. Let's add it as a tier 1 emote. Oh, I can't. Okay. Oh, okay. I can't re-upload it because it's already in the library. So let's grab it from the library and put it. I just now realized that this is named after the founder of Lego. That's his first name. Why can't I upload it? Why can't I add it? It says I have an open slot. Okay, let me delete it from here. Can I delete it from here? Okay, let's try to delete it from here. Delete from library. And add it to here. Once approved. It needs to get approved. Perfect. So, as soon as that's approved, you'll be able to spam the chat with your b-hole. Anyway, back to the build. I think I'm just gonna raw dog this one. I didn't organize the pieces ahead of time. I was just doing outside things in the outside. So I didn't really have time to set up. But I think we can raw dog this one. But first, let's check if it has numbered bags. Settle Podius's Enigma. Was it Podius's Enigma? No, it was Alfred's Enigma. Okay. Nope. I was wrong. We have numbered bags. So let's see if we need to open all of them to make our majestic tiger. Podius is an enigma. Fear not, mortals, I have arrived for real this time. How was the episode? Was it the new one? I feel like we're not going to get to the flower piece until bag 3. So we have time for the emote to get approved, and then we'll find out. All right, 2, 4, 3 instructions. Let's get rid of those. See here, tiger should follow the numbered bag order. Other sets in the 3-in-1 don't follow the bags. That's why I'm always confused about the 3-in-1s. Because it seems like the first one is the main set, and then everything else is just a cop-out. Episode from New Year 2021. Oh, last year's episode. You'll be able to spam the chat with your b-hole. I think I'll raw dog this one. Yeah, you know me. Oh, no, the piece is here. There are a few of them. There are a hefty number of these in here. So let's see what we end up building. And of course, you can't have an orange brick separator with all these orange bricks. You got to get the teal. Before this, I think teal was only in the Harry Potter sets. So, expanding. Okay. So I'm just looking at like the preview of the instructions, and like there's a lot of flowers where the flowers go, but that's not until bag 4. So I'm wondering what we're going to do with all of these bag 1 flowers. Unless I opened bag 4 and it was mislabeled as bag 1, but let's find out. Let's find out. Where are you with Whitaker? Oh, Jodie Whittaker. Why did I think Forrest Whitaker? Forrest Whitaker has never been the Doctor, I don't think. Jodie Whittaker. Series $12 special. Have you watched that one yet? I have not seen any of the Jodie Whittaker, so I will let you guys have that conversation. Building the Christmas tree 2-in-1. It has no bag numbers. Interesting. Maybe they just ran out of time. Maybe they were running late for the Christmas season. They're like, we got to get it out. But who knows? Also, blue chai update. I have my iced chai today, but it's in my blue milk. What does it say? Bubo Family Farms cup from Disney World. That could use a little bit more sweetness, but that's fine. Next time I will add some honey in there. Ooh, I still have some peppermint flavored honey. So, oops. Yeah, oops for the sweetness, I guess. Because I haven't messed up on the set yet. I may need some more light. Let me turn on this light so I can see the colors. Okay, there we go. Turn this the right way. I do like how the insides are pink and red and overall organism colored. That's nice. Also, welcome, Hyan. I thought you were going to miss this one. So welcome. It's good to have you here. There we go. For the teal brick separator, then I'll have 4 different kinds. What are the other ones that you have? Because this kind, this like shape, comes in green, orange, and teal. Green is only in 1 set. The original one came in green and gray, and then the arts ones are black. So I don't have I only have the teal and orange ones in my collection. My brother has the original green and gray ones, and then my other brother has some of the black ones. You're cleaning out your email. That's good. I feel like I wish like people that I worked with would clean out their email because they have like 2,000 unread messages and I don't know how they handle it. I have to be inbox zero when I start the workday. I cannot have a messy inbox. It's just too much. You have a bunch of the art ones. Okay. So the 4 wide ones. I want to get those just to have it, but I also don't want to buy an art set because they're expensive. Hey Watson, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are just in time for us to start the build. Yeah. And I think there was a brick measuring. Thank you for resubscribing, Haley. I appreciate that a whole bunch. You also are counting the 2 that you have from your Mega Bloks set. So you have the orange one from Mega Bloks. Do you have a different version of the Mega Bloks one too? My local Aldi had a bunch of $10 Minecraft Lego sets, and I want to buy several for the colors, but I don't need that many red creepers. I mean, you can always find a use for red creepers. You don't have to use them as red creepers. You can use them as like weird pillars and stuff. Or at least the bodies. They have cool shaped bodies. And we're just gonna snot. This is the interior of this tiger is covered in snot. Again, realism. The Lego designer said they were going for realism with the set, and we have, you know, the insides are pink and red and covered in snot. So that's fine. I have the mechanical one oh, you have that one too. Okay. That's good. That's good. I'm still trying to find on Etsy or something a metal brick separator or a bottle opener that's shaped like a brick separator because I just think that would be so cool to have. And then someone that I follow on TikTok, I forget his name, but you've probably seen it, the guy that chromes all of his Lego sets because he has like a chroming thing for work. He chromed a brick separator and I asked him if he was willing to sell it and he just laughed. So I'm still waiting on my chrome brick separator. But it's all good in the hood. Interesting. This is like a very skinny tiger. I guess tigers are skinny, but this is, even by tiger standards, this is something else. 2 by 2, 2 by 2, 2 by 2, 2 by 2. Slow piece. So many green pieces in the tree? Yeah, I bet. It's not like the tiger where it's all brown pieces on the inside and then green pieces on the outside. I'm sure it's green all the way through. They also had a 3-in-1 set. I should have bought 3 for having all 3. Yeah, if you want to do all 3. I think part of the fun of the 3-in-1 is like building and rebuilding and like getting over the fact of taking apart Lego sets, which a lot of people struggle with. But yeah, if you want to just buy all 3 and build all 3, that's fine. Or build 2 of them since you have 2 of them. Or build 2 of the same thing. Or mirror build one. Some people do that as like an extra challenge. Helga Sanchez, thank you for stopping in. It's okay if you have to go to sleep. Build them all. Build all of them for fun. Yeah. At the same time, none of the designs are that amazing. I might take one apart. It depends on the 3-in-1. I like the tiger in the set, but I feel like I like the red panda more. So after we build this tiger, I may take it apart and build the red panda instead. The koi fish, I'm not a fan of fish, so I'll skip that one. But the red panda looks nice. Cheese slopes 31126. What is that? Let's take a look, shall we? Lego 31126. Oh, it's the jet. This is an older one. Okay, the jet with a stand seems like a pretty solid build to put on display. The boat and the helicopter are a bit underwhelming. They feel too toy-y. But the jet looks nice. And it comes with a stand, so even better, right? It's like meant for display. Thank you for the hydration check. We got our blue chai again. Blue chai again. We'll see. I don't know if the panda has one. I've only seen people talking about the tiger. What did Alfred send in the Discord? What are these? Wait, what are these? Hold on. Oh, is this the Black Panther set? These were the other two sets. The red one is one that made me pause for a second due to emotions. The big all the way to the right in the pic isn't part of the set. Just want to show a possible chance to talk more about Halo lore. You can talk more about Halo lore. I just don't know anything about Halo lore. So this, I'm assuming this has some significance in Halo that I don't know about. But this, you know, Mega always says that their value is detail. So they will make special pieces to add detail. And this definitely shows that off. Whereas this, I thought this was the ship from Dune before I saw that Black Panther's in there. I think we got one of my friends that set for Christmas because he's a Black Panther fan. Well, he's a Marvel fan, so. Jet is probably the one I would display. Helicopter is cool, but not as cool. Yeah, it's not as cool as the jet. 2 tractor sets, it's a cool set, but keeping the other for all the wheels and figs. Perfect, right? One to build the instructions and one to build whatever you want. If you have the money for it, that's a great way to do it. Otherwise, build the instructions and then take it apart and build what you want. And I guess the space for it too. Right. I think this is going to be the belly. Feels like belly. Or, okay, this is going to go underneath. I have no idea what's going to go with this. And these gray pieces, I've never seen this piece in any other color. I wonder if it exists in any other color. Aldi usually is a couple bucks cheaper. Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice. I don't have Aldi here. Or at least I don't have one nearby. I don't know if they exist in Canada. If they do, they're not like near me. But even the Aldi by my parents' place, I don't know what's going on with this. This is weirding me out. But even the Aldi by my parents' place, they never had Lego sets. So like, how are you getting Lego at Aldi is my first question. Okay, here we go. We're gonna start to use flower pieces. They're gonna be inside, so I don't know if we're gonna be able to see them in the final build. But here's some more flower pieces. Maybe they just needed 1x1s here, and instead of using a different color of 1x1s, they were using the 1x1s that are already included in the set. Which is fine, which is a thing that Lego does sometimes. If the color doesn't matter, they'll just use extras of a piece that they already have instead of trying to get a new color from a different part of the factory in there. So, who knows? Who knows? I think they buy in bulk on clearance because they don't stay for long. That makes sense. And then that would mean that they're probably older sets too. You remember the rumor of the Doctor Who budget tripling? I think it's actually true. They released a trailer the other day that feels much more expensive. There's a creature in the trailer made of fur that looks incredible, and I don't think they could do that with a $3 million budget they had previously. Yes, this is the piece. I haven't actually seen the Doctor Who trailer yet. My friend Sarah on TikTok is doing a first-time Doctor Who watch through, like the whole series. So she watched the trailer and she posted a review of it, but I didn't. I haven't actually seen it. I feel like I need to catch up on the last 3 Doctors before I dive into the new stuff. But to catch up on that, I also need to catch up on Willow, and I need to catch up on Rings of Power. And I think in a future stream, either on here or on TikTok, Maria and I are going to be talking about Andor. So I need to rewatch Andor because I don't remember much of that from the from my first watch, aside from the emotions. So my watch list is not getting any shorter. So eventually I will get back to Doctor Who. I think what I need to do is get a job that allows me to sit at home and do nothing most of the time. Dregs and Orphan, I'm assuming that's Orphan. 55, while they look at you, they are hampered by a smaller budget. You can tell they are hampered by, while they look great, you can tell they are hampered by a smaller budget. Yes. But I feel like that adds to the charm of Doctor Who. Just like the charm of the original Star Wars movies or anything else. It's just, it looks, you can see how they made it, right? And I'm watching Power Rangers as well for the podcast. And Power Rangers is the same thing. You can see how they made it, which is really nice. And you don't get that a lot in sort of newer stuff or CGI heavy stuff, because it's, they just did it in a computer. It doesn't do anything. It's this gray piece. I don't know if that's in another color. Don't remember the prices I paid, but I looked it up in the store. 3-in-1 tractor and Minecraft, I feel like Minecraft has been on its way out since it was on its way in. There's not a lot of fanfare around the Minecraft sets. How much of Power Rangers was recycled Die Ranger scenes versus the original? I think Nick would be the expert on this, so I will ask him, because he's seen both. But I think anything that doesn't have the faces of the characters is messed up. Anything that doesn't have the faces of the characters is from the other show. So they have like their transforming sequence, and then they switch to the other show after the transformation, and that's why the Yellow Ranger's skirt disappears in the fight scenes, because they don't have a skirt in the original show. Or all just borrowed and used. I'll believe that. I will believe that Western B-roll is all just recycled. A lot of the costumes are practical but touched up with CGI. Sometimes it works, 60th trailer, sometimes it doesn't, Legend of the Sea Devils. Okay, so I'll have to look into those. It's hard when Minecraft is unlimited Lego. So I don't think I've told this story before, but I was working there when the Minecraft idea sets were there until after the Minecraft theme was released. And all of us who worked there were flabbergasted because Minecraft is unlimited Lego. It's like you can build whatever you want out of blocks, and it looks blocky, and it's Lego, and it's, you can also have adventures in there. So like all of us working there were like, why would there be Minecraft Lego? Why? It doesn't make any sense, right? Minecraft themed Lego. Just build Lego or just play with Minecraft. You don't need to have both combined. But as soon as that Kuso set, because it was Kuso before Lego Ideas came out, as soon as that Kuso set came out, it flew off the shelves, and they made 3 more. So they made like the original First Night, I think it was called, and then they made 3 more of different realms, and people would buy multiples of them and stick them together, and like flew off the shelves. So then when the Minecraft theme was introduced, it made sense because it was very, very successful. We still didn't understand it, but it was very successful. And then most of the people coming in to buy the minifigure scale Minecraft sets, because the original ones were mini scale or micro scale even, where a Minecraft brick was like 2 of these instead of the 2x2. And it was mostly parents. Like, parents would come in and they'd be like, they'd ask for Minecraft, and we were just, we have Minecraft, but like, I don't understand, you know. That's one of those things. You gotta, when you're working retail, you gotta learn what the customers actually like, because like, it may not be intuitive at first, like Lego Minecraft. The Bits and Bricks podcast, I subscribed to them last time somebody mentioned them in chat. I've never actually listened to an episode yet, though. I'm so behind in podcasts too. An appropriate first episode. Yeah. Minecraft was supposed to be, Minecraft is what Lego should have made. Yeah, didn't it start off as like a Lego style fan game, but Lego said no? Also, the Lego games where you only build stuff are not that fun. At least to me, they're not that fun. They might be fun to other people, but I was playing Lego Worlds, and I put it down almost immediately because it's just not, I would rather be playing with actual Lego, right? But, you know, it works for some people. Their video games are successful. And obviously the story games are something else entirely. Minecraft is more open-ended and polished. Minecraft is more open-ended, but I feel like Minecraft is more consistent. What I found with the Lego building games is that you're not, for the most part, you're not building brick by brick. You are building structure by structure. You are building, like, you are placing a brick-shaped building down, right? Because, like, I guess that's easier to program in the game. But it severely limits what you can do, and it severely limits your creativity as well. So, like, you know, oh, this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm building the stripes, and we're going to match these curves. Okay. All right. Okay. I see what you're doing. I've been making my way around the planets, getting all the collectibles. I get Coruscant, and I realize I forgot Maz's castle and half of Jakku, so it looks like I'm going back there. That's a lot of fun. As you guys probably know, while I was playing the story mode on stream, I would like go around and get the collectibles and get the characters and stuff. That for me is the best part of that Lego game. Like, the story is nice, and I was lucky enough to share the story with all of you guys. But it's just cool to walk around and explore and immerse yourself in the world. I think that's my favorite part of any video game, really, is the exploration of it. And just going around and looking at stuff and discovering new things, and really just getting lost in it. The problem that I have with collectibles, though, is that I'm really bad at them. I'm like really bad at video games. You guys know that already. So I usually use like a guide or something. I used a guide. I used a map, actually, for Breath of the Wild. Some Zelda fans had made an interactive map where you can like check off the things that you've already collected. So I used that to sort of get everything. Haven't gotten everything, but that's what I've been using. Finished the story in about a week and a half in August, still going around and getting collectibles. It's so much fun. I've either been putting on an album or listening to Doctor Who audio dramas. It's been so much fun. That sounds like fun. I would, when I'm playing video games by myself, unless there's like a story, I usually have like YouTube or something on in the background. But something that I got to work on over stim. You know how it is. I need to wean my stimulation a little bit. I love figuring out exactly where boundaries and barriers are in games. I like to do that with like the old games, with like the N64 games. And even World of Warcraft when I started playing it. Just because it's like pushing to the edges. I remember back in high school, I was playing World of Warcraft, the free version. They had just made it free up to level 20. So I played the game and I did the story and stuff. And when I had to stop growing, I just walked. And I tried to unlock every single part of the map. And just walk from region to region. So then I'd end up in like the really, really high level regions. So I would walk 10 feet and then get killed by something. And then regen 20 feet away. And then walk another 10 feet and then get killed by something. And then regen 20 feet away. And then it was time consuming, but just seeing the world that they had made was so good. Was so fun. And it's not anymore. It sucks now because of politics. But I still think about it. I still want to play the free version of World of Warcraft so that I'm not supporting Blizzard but still can have fun. And I think that's what excited me about Breath of the Wild. Because it was a lot smaller, but it was like a fully fledged world. And you can explore every single nook and cranny of it. And I spent hours and hours and hours exploring that world, not doing the story stuff. And even before I found the guides and stuff like that, like the whatchamacallit. Where am I putting this? This is going here. Okay. Oh, I see what's going on. I see what's happening. The reason for this gap is because this is going to sit at an angle. It's a very snug fit, but it's like at an angle. Okay. All right, I see what you're doing. I did miss a part, so see if I can pop it back out. And one more layer of stripes here on this side. Let me see if I can find it in the instructions. But yeah, that's what I like for video games. I like to just walk around and explore and be in another world. That's why even though I'm like really bad at video games, I like those video games. I also want to play Journey, which I've started, but that's another one of those exploring games. Did I miss something? I think I missed something. No, I didn't. I guess there's just a little bit of a gap here. I missed something. What did I miss? Oh, I see. There's supposed to be a layer of black here. All right. Brick separators in the chat, if you feel so inclined. A few weeks ago, I managed to listen to an entire 4-hour story doing collectibles, and I was done about a planet and a half in. That time was a blast. The story was mind-bending, too. It was rather bonkers. I was thinking of playing the latest WoW expansion because I've heard that the new world is really good. Oops, oops, oops. Oops, 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 indeed. It goes above this, too. Okay. This is the thing. This is the beef that I have with, whatchamacallits, adults welcome sets as well, is that there's just too many opportunities for oopsies, I guess. which is fine. It's not like the worst, but you know, could be better. Let's see here. Oh, I gotta go like way back. Okay. That, and then this. Thank you for the hydration check. I did not know that. I didn't know that you could see capital ships from the ground. I guess I never really looked up about it. But that's cool. Okay. Although I'm not looking forward to going through and getting all the collectibles on those capital ships. Didn't realize that was a thing till today. The capital ships aren't that bad. Once you conquer them, then they're pretty easy. Okay, I was like way far back. Okay. This, okay. But some of them, like they're all slightly different maps, but they have like ramps that don't go to the right place and stairs that are in the wrong place and stuff like that. They're very, very confusing. And if you have indicators turned on, then it's hard to see like where exactly you're going, because you can set the target on the indicator and then it'll like take you to the closest spot, but it'll still be like behind a wall. So you need to go the long way and sort of figure it out for yourself. It's very annoying, but you know, that's part of the game, right? Yes. Once you bought the capital ships and go and get 8 out of 10 collectibles. So it's a multi-step process. So the capital ship, you need to beat a part of a story to unlock the capital ship. Then you need to go to a planet and just hang out there for about 5 minutes in orbit around, like outside the planet. Wait for the capital ship to appear, and then you can go in and conquer the capital ship, take over the capital ship, and then you can go and walk around it and unlock the collectibles and stuff. So it's a multi-step process. But yeah. And the hardest part is just finding out where the capital ships are. But it's usually in a place that's relevant to the movie that it's from. So like the droid command center is probably above Naboo, for example, because that's where it is in the movie. But yeah. It's a good time. It's always a good time. Brother got a character pack DLC for Christmas, so Cassian Andor and Ahsoka Tano on Coruscant with the Death Star in orbit is a very strange feeling. I can imagine that would be a strange feeling. One of the first things that I did with with the first character pack that I got was what was it? It was I took the entire Rogue One crew. There was a glitch at the time where you could have more than 2 characters, so I grabbed the entire Rogue One crew and we did a photo shoot outside the Death Star, outside on the ocean moon of Endor. I forget the name of it. And we just did a photo shoot. Be like, hey, this is the Death Star ruins. Enjoy. Live it up. Okay. This should be back to normal now. Okay. I've added in the layer. It was this black layer there. Hopefully that's enough to get this done. There we go. Stripes line up. Kif beer. You don't have to hate the fact that you remember that. It's fine to know the places of Star Wars, the names of Star Wars places. That's fine. Like I said, I've only seen the sequels once, so I don't remember all of the names of all of the places. Okay, this time I'm going to pay attention, make sure I do it correctly. Real quick. Just doing some stuff. Was that the Mando glitch? Wasn't it? Switch to Grogu, then add another Mando, so forth and so on. That was one of the Mando. That was the Mando glitch, but I think there was another one where I just had 5 people without really trying. I think it's because I ended a part of the story where I was supposed to have 5 people, and then I was just walking around the real world with 5 people. I always remember way too many small details from Halo. Don't worry about remembering that. Yeah, I think it's always like, if you can pull it out here in a Twitch stream, just be like, yep, that was Kif beer. I'm fine with that. Right? You just prove that it's not useless knowledge because you used it. Now, will that help you pass a test? Get a significant other? Probably not. But it's useful because you've used it. Actually, no. If you used your knowledge of Kef beer to get a significant other, that'd be pretty baller, actually. I take that back. I'm going to move this a little bit this way because I just noticed that I'm building a lot off camera because it's too far away. I gotta lean, I gotta hunch. I gotta go full goblin mode to sort of get this in. I kind of want to watch the sequels again with a lot of stuff you've mentioned about them reflecting modern far-right, mirroring the Nazis in mind might help improve them for me as a whole. Maybe. I think I've said this before on TikTok, but I did not live in the States when I watched those movies, so I thought it was corny and I thought it was ham-handed. But then I moved back to the States and I'm like, nope, that's what's going on. So, you know, it is that extreme. At least where I was. Like, I was in Florida at the time, which Orlando is fine because it's like tourists, but outside of Orlando, it gets pretty extreme. I really like how the tiers of the Christmas tree get oriented. How do they get oriented? Are they like, because I've only built like one Lego Christmas tree and it's just like one layer on top of the other at a slight angle. But I don't know. My brother sent me a photo. Let me see if I can find it actually. Of the Christmas tree that he built, which was a while ago in a different group chat. These ones. So there's like, that's not a Lego Christmas tree, but there's like this snot Christmas tree. There's this one that uses angled bricks. There's this snot that uses 1x2 cheese slopes. There's this one, which is oriented in all sorts of different ways. 1x1 flats and studs. Oh, okay. And then there's like these ones, which I think are closer to what you're building there. Basically only interested in dating nerds anyway, because I'd like to be able to info dump at my partner and nerd stuff without feeling like I'm talking at them rather than to them. Yeah, it's always good to find someone that can like add on to your conversations, right? I've said it before, this is why I have a TikTok, is because I can't talk about this stuff to people in real life. So I can just go crazy and I can get really super into detail about something on TikTok and somebody will find it that knows about it and they will add on or correct me or, you know, keep the conversation going, which is a lot of fun. And then that's also why I'm hesitant to post videos about like Islam and Ismailism and stuff. And I've slowed down on that a whole bunch. Because most of the people that watch that don't know anything about Ismailism. So they're just like, cool, thanks for the info. And they don't add to the conversation at all. Like the conversation ends at my video. Which is, you know, it's fine. People are learning, and I'm glad to be part of that. But, you know, it's not good for having a two-way conversation or a multi-way conversation. That's fine. Yeah. But that's sort of the problem. Well, not the problem, but maybe it's a problem, maybe it's a feature of the internet as a whole, of that you can find your niche on the internet that you may not be able to find online. So then the question is, do you stick with your niche on the internet? Because as we all know, having only 100% digital interactions is not the healthiest thing to do. But for some people, that's the only option. This is the same mistake I made last time. Gonna correct it before I make it again. Is it two-way if it's mostly one-way to hive mind? If it depends. It depends. If the hive mind is pushing back, I would call that two-way, right? If I'm talking to a hive mind and they're disagreeing with me or correcting me on something, I would call that two-way. I feel guilty of that. I'm too much into learning that I often forget to have a conversation because my brain isn't thinking about questions. Yeah, which, like, that's not your fault or anything. It's your learning. And sometimes with video responses and comments and stuff, TikTok is not really made for conversations. It's more like you did a thing and now people are going to talk about it separately from you. But that's it. If you are the hive mind, I hope you're still having interesting conversations, I guess. And I think that's why people like the alt-right exist, is because they are a hive mind. So we have these, well, we don't, I'm not part of that group, but they have these charismatic people whose whole job is to exit the hive mind, to go outside of the hive mind. Made the same mistake again. And to, in their case, own the libs, but that's still having a conversation. The problem arises then when people who don't know any better see those staged conversations, those public conversations, as actual conversations, right? And then they take Ben Shapiro, for example's advice to heart when he said, the only reason that you should talk to a leftist is to own them in the marketplace of ideas. Because then what that leads to is a bunch of people copy-pasting Ben Shapiro arguments which are not strong and not relevant outside of the conversation that he's having into their real-life conversations or into their online conversations in other spaces, and they're just getting roasted because all of that is constructed. You can't take that out of the environment that it's in. I love this fur. I love how this is a shaggy tiger. I don't love how this piece is on upside down, but I love this shaggy tiger. I do really love those 20 video deep stitch change with two creators having conversations across 20 audio videos. I'm glad you love that. I would love to see that sometime. I don't see that a lot. Right now, the deepest deep dive that I'm witnessing is what Nick, the amazing Nick Anger, is doing. By the way, I think Chunks was asking about these on my desk. These are containers, and I just put my spare pieces in them. They're little Lego-shaped containers. So this will have my tiger pieces. On to bag 2. Bloody Ben Shapiro is so funny. He's so dense. He sat there wondering why he didn't make it as a screenwriter while he just doesn't understand the concept in this direction it got me in. That was on the news. That was not on the news. That was on Twitter, which is not the news. That was a bit on the nose. Like, I haven't even seen Glass Onion, but I know that it's a mystery movie. So yes, the author lying to you is part of the experience, right? Um, but yeah, and to sort of, I know the bags are loud. I'm sorry. To sort of bring it away from politics as well, Reddit does the same thing, or really any internet hive mind. Even when I made my Love for the Empire series on TikTok, a lot of the comments, I didn't realize this at the time. I thought I was getting responses in good faith. I think, Hyan, did you meant to say it's not worth thinking of as remotely news? Because it's not. It's not news. Um, and I'll talk about that in a bit after I finish this thought. Um, what was I saying? Right. The Love for the Empire. I was getting a lot of like similar comments. So my thought process going into that and um, seeing the same comment over and over and over again, the comment being, the uniforms are cool. I like the uniforms. The uniforms are good, but everything else is bad. And I thought that was just people, sharing an opinion, because if you take it out of the historical context, then yes, the uniforms are very uniform. And if you're into that, that's fine. I didn't realize until I saw Alex Jones talking to Kanye West, which is just so funny, when I learned that liking the uniforms and ignoring everything else is a talking point that they use. I watched it in the context of a news show talking about Kanye, a comedy news show. But they said it was a dog whistle, like strictly ignoring everything that the bad guys from Indiana Jones did and just focusing on how cool the uniforms are, apparently is a dog whistle. I didn't know that. And that just goes like the hive mind, it worked on me, right? I thought people were individually coming to this conclusion, but they weren't. It convinced me. Yeah, out of the historical, cultural, and in-universe context, the Empire and the First Order, and the First Order especially, look really cool. Yeah. While I personally disagree with that, I would say that's a totally valid opinion, right? I don't like the way that their uniforms work, but I can see why they look that way. From an aesthetic perspective in the movie and from the historical perspective. Oh, we got more pink, doing more insidey parts. So yeah, there was a day or two after Elon Musk took over Twitter, where the news tab changed, and it was just cryptocurrency ads. All of the news was affiliate posts about cryptocurrency. Because, if cryptocurrency fails, then Elon Musk loses a large portion of his wealth that he's invested. Not like a significant portion, but larger than anything that I would have access to. And cryptocurrency will only succeed if more people keep buying into it. So the entire news section of Twitter turned into buy this cryptocurrency, buy that cryptocurrency, and stuff like that. I love the pointy hats and the flared pants. They look dumb in a cool way. Sure, if that's what it is. Anything Kanye lately is something else. It is something else. It's, I don't know. I don't know how to talk about Kanye West. Some people are saying that it's a mental health issue, but mental health doesn't make you racist. It might make you think it's okay to be racist, but it doesn't make you racist. But I think aside from the bipolar and whatever has actually been diagnosed, just his detachment from reality. And we saw bits and pieces of this when he stormed TMZ a few years ago. I don't care if it's a dog whistle. I think people just like the uniform. So that's what I thought as well, until someone more informed on the topic pointed it out. I thought it was just people liking the uniforms. But changing the conversation from Nazis to uniforms is the dog whistle. It probably drives him towards that way, yeah. And it's it's the sort of the dark side of that side of the political spectrum where at the end of the day, it is being conservative is very selfish, I would say, right? It defunds social programs, it makes people fend for themselves, it pits people against each other. And so him going on the extreme end and alienating anyone that was trying to support him, either support him because he's a person who deserves support, or support him because they agreed with his anti-Semitism or with his other conservative ideals. The extreme version is him just pushing all of those people away. Right? But, that's Kanye. Fend for themselves with the money they aren't paying in taxes for others. Yes, fend for themselves if you can afford to fend for yourself, right? It also, if you don't have enough money to fend for yourself, then they're also going to be taking money away from you, right? By cutting these social programs, by not letting you get back on your feet, right? It's literally, and the taxes argument is part of it too. I think we talked about it in the beginning of our healthcare conversation on Discord of, you're not letting other people have healthcare, right? By not having a public option, you are taking healthcare away from people who need it sometimes, right? I feel like Kanye and Musk are similarly detached from reality, lacking in anyone they trust being allowed to pull them back. They're otherwise very different, yet from parts similar. Yes, yeah. And this is why I always say it's important to go outside. It's important to talk to people that you disagree with, or watch news that you disagree with if you're not good at social situations. And learn this stuff, because if everything that you hear day in and day out is agreeing with you, even if what you say starts off reasonable, it can go off the deep end fast. So fast, right? And that's why I've even had to, when I make videos about, pronouns or guns and stuff, I have to reel myself in and be like, a bunch of people are going to see this. And a bunch of the people that see this are going to agree with me. So I need to censor myself to a certain extent and not go off the deep end. There's that video about, I was talking about blasters, and somebody chimed in a few times and said, well, what about blasters on farms to feed your family and to protect livestock? And there was a part of me that wanted to say, no. Right? Go full teacher mode and be like, no, enough people have lost their privileges that even the farmers don't get it, right? But then I had to reel myself in and be like, that's not a reasonable thing to say. That's not a realistic thing to say. Even in that circumstance. And I had to pull myself back because, who else is going to pull me back? You've seen the comments on my videos. Very few people are trying to pull me back. Because you noticed the start of his spiral when he was getting divorced from Kim, got with Pete Davidson, then he started saying and making some horrible stuff about him. The spiral started way before that. But he was sort of like a burnt out musician at that time, so people didn't really listen to him at that time. But it was there. You can see it. I know I already mentioned the TMZ thing. This looks like a fish. Needs a tail. Anyway. It looks like a fish. That's what I like about Discord. It allows for more openness or playing devil's advocate. Yes, 100%. And thank you, Hein, for taking those two topics and making them their own threads so that we could focus on them a little bit. I know you asked me to tag you in replies so that you see them, but in my opinion, I feel like tagging people adds undue pressure, and I don't want to pressure people to look at social media. So that's why I didn't tag you in my responses. I'm like, when you are up to it, my thinking was when you are up to it, when you feel like it, when you're in that headspace, then respond. But I don't want to pressure you to respond in any sort of way. I don't think I said that in there, but I forget to look at Discords. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to tell you to look at Discords because Discords are overwhelming. Haley, this is called the Beehole Tiger because in a little bit, it's going to have a beehole, and that's part of the design. And back in January, when this set came out, that's all anyone could talk about is that this has a beehole. I want to be mentally able to reply properly. Yeah. And me too. That's why, like, take your time. Think about what you want to say. Don't feel rushed to respond to something. Because if you're rushed, it's going to be... I don't know if you guys heard that, but it's going to be like that guy and just honking through the intersection. Yeah, I have notifications on for my Discord and for the Power Rangers podcast, and that's it, because that's usually stuff that I need to like pay attention to. But yeah, I really don't. I know I'm saying this on social media, but I don't want people to be like, to have pressure to check social media and to be on social media, because this past year I've had that pressure to like make content, read comments, check out tags and all that stuff, respond to stuff. And it's really been weighing me down. So I'm like, if you don't have to do that, don't do that. If you don't have to be on social media, don't be on social media at all. He says on social media. I already look at Discord way too much. I actively spread my thoughts out across multiple servers so I don't feel like I'm annoying my friends. Yeah. And I feel like I'm not, like, my server is not the only one that is a declared safe space. I'm sure you have other places where you can expand a little bit more. I also believe in a fool appears wise when he holds his tongue. Okay. Interesting. I've heard sort of, not the opposite of that, but the same thing from the opposite direction, which is a fool speaks because he has to say something, but a wise man speaks because he has something to say. So similar, but just like approaching from the other side. As I spend 3 hours a week talking about literally nothing. Social media. What a beast. But yeah, sometimes it's not. Like, the stress that I get from not making content or like skipping a stream or not posting 2 videos a day is just overwhelming. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I basically don't have any real life human friends, so I basically only have Discords really for interaction. That's real unfortunate, my friend. I know, like, especially because COVID is still going on and like social anxiety is the thing. It's very, very hard to make IRL friends. But I feel like IRL friends are very important for grounding. And obviously I'm at the extreme case. Hey, we got our favorite instruction. The click, 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 cat, click, 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 skis, and whatever it is in Chinese. I've always heard better to say nothing and be thought of a fool and say something and be proven a fool. That's another one that I've heard. Be friends IRL or hang out. That's the tough thing, and that's something that I'm struggling with as well. That's why I took the friends class. But like I said, I'm in the extreme case, so I just got back from spending time with an IRL mutual. And I was like, oh, I gotta be back in the office by 6 because I have to do my stream. And they're like, oh, thank you for the stretch and hydration check. Stretch! I'm also gonna change my sweater because I'm really hot. So I'm just gonna go off camera and do that. Okay. Um, and they're like, so tell me what your stream is. Like, what do you do on it? And I'm like, well, I set up a camera and lights and stuff, and then I build a Lego set, and then I talk for about 3 hours. And they're like, and people watch you build a Lego set for 3 hours. And I'm like, yeah. And she was like put off by that, which is reasonable because if you're not an internet person, you know, watching someone else building a Lego set is weird, right? It's not something like you could build a Lego set or you can hang out with friends and build Lego sets together. If you're not used to internet interactions, watching somebody else build a Lego set seems like a weird way to spend time. Which is fine for an outside person. I could build a Lego set and watch a Lego set get built. That's what my brother does too, because he's also not an internet person. Oh, I forgot the Chidration. That was a Chidration? Yes, Chidration. Blue Book. Yes, Haley, took the Friends class. It was an 8-week class. It's over now. I think I passed. The last class was at a Tim's, and we sat and we grabbed coffee and we ate food, and I went back into like teacher mode, internet mode, stream mode, whatever you want to call it. So the class didn't help me per se because I was trying to learn how to not fake being a friend. But instead they're just like, if you can fake it, that's fine. And I'm like, that's not what I wanted to do. So I didn't pass the Friends class. I finished the Friends class. I don't think I passed the Friends class. But it's fine, right? A lot of the people in there were like in recovery from substance abuse or like familial abuse or like really extreme situations where if you can get to the level of faking it, that's good enough, dog. Fake it till you make it. And my problem was that I've been faking it. And it doesn't feel that good when you fake it. I thought this was the head. This is not the head. This is part of the body. Maybe this is the butthole. I don't know. I know that I'm not here for Lego per se. The Lego is a bonus. I'm here for the conversation and the debates and the killing of time. So that's what I tried to explain, is that it's a social activity. It's like hanging out with friends, but only one of them is talking, which is like hanging out with friends. So the class told you to do the thing that you were there to stop doing. That's a thing, I guess. Yeah, the class wasn't for me. Let's see what did I put on Discord. What is this? First of all, I don't know what that is. Let's see here. Waste of time. Oh, loading artist. I haven't seen one of these in a hot minute. What are you doing? Watching this guy play a game. It's pretty funny. Wait, so you aren't even playing? Yeesh, what a complete waste of time. Watches sports. Yeah. I don't know anyone who watches sports alone, though. Like, you get friends together, you know, have some food, some beverages are involved. You cheer, you talk, you do stuff, and then the game is just like a focus point for when you run out of stuff to talk about, right? If you can't keep the conversation, then you tune back into the game until something comes up, right? Maybe the reason I don't know anyone who watches sports alone is I don't watch sports alone. So if other people watch sports alone, they're doing it without me. But every time I watch sports, I'm with other people. Or like the family for World Cup, my family loves soccer, so the family group chat was blowing up. Everyone was talking about soccer in there. So it's the watching the sports is a catalyst um, to watching to social interaction, right? It's a little social lubricant. Um, Even then, like one of my friends loves soccer, paid attention to all the World Cup, so I would just like check highlights, check scores, so that we'd have something to talk about. Even though I don't know what's going on, I don't care. I didn't want to pay attention to it because of the political reasons that they didn't know about. Um, but yeah, it's just a thing, just a thing that happens. Um, for sure, I watch for Social Loop during the day, but I absolutely will watch a game alone if I need be. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that either, right? If you're interested in sports, you don't have to do it with other people. But I just find it interesting that like we watch Twitch alone, but like the expectation is that you watch sports with other people, you watch movies with other people, you watch plays with other people, right? That's sort of the social expectation is that all of those other things are like when you consume entertainment, you are doing it in groups, right? But Twitch you do alone. YouTube you do alone. Millionaires kicking a bag of air in a country that doesn't want me to exist is the last thing I'd ever willingly interact with. Exactly. I only used it as social lubricant. Because I don't care. I'm doing social expectations wrong apparently. No, I feel like right there's you can watch a movie in the theater, but if you're like a movie person, then you're gonna watch it also alone, right? But I don't think there's a version of Twitch where you watch with other people, unless you're going to one of the live sporting esports events or a competition or stuff, right? I don't know. Maybe there are people that watch Twitch with other people and I just don't know them. They're just not watching Twitch for me, with me, right? And I guess the chat and the community here sort of compensates for that as well. Where like you are still talking to other people. You just can't see them. I don't know. Just something to think about, I guess. I don't have the answer to that. Kind of going off of when I went to a friend into the city to see an in-person podcast done by one of their favorite groups. Yeah, an in-person podcast. I've been to a live podcast. The Power Rangers friends and I are looking at live podcast at Power Ranger Con Expo, right? I guess. Now I'm starting to second guess myself. Like, why don't I watch movies alone? Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Unless it's like for work, where I have to watch Lord of the Rings. Even then, I watched it with my brother instead of watching it alone. Willow, I watched alone. I watched most of the movie alone. The internet cut out, and I just like stopped watching. Um, but I don't know. It's an interesting thing. A couple of my friends watch Twitch together and mostly live plays of GTA Online. Watch Twitch together. Like, do they tune into the same Twitch stream or are they watching on the same screen? Would be my question. How he listens to podcasts alone but wanted so badly to go to this live pod. Why do either of us have to be doing anything wrong? As long as we're enjoying ourselves, not causing harm to anyone, who cares? Yeah. I guess I'm using like right and wrong in the context of social expectations, because if we're trying to make friends outside, then we need to be cognizant of social expectations. That just comes with the territory. My friends are a couple and they watch the same screen together. Oh, see, that makes it easier. Can't watch stuff with others unless they get into it as much as me. That's something that I've had to learn, because the IRL friends that I hang out with, when we go to a movie, they talk. they talk. And that's like, we're not going on opening night or anything, so it's not the worst, but I had to get used to people talking during a movie because they're using that movie the same way that you would use sports as social lubricant to talk about stuff, right? So that's something that I had to get used to. And now I'm fine with it because, you know, when you want to keep your friends, you got to make certain sacrifices. Certain sacrifices. Don't sacrifice everything to your friends. It's not worth it. Unless your friend is the sun god and you're like coming out of decades of darkness. In which case, sacrifice something to them to get the sunlight back. But otherwise, baby steps. For a long time, there was a subset of stuff I thought in my head I had to do as a couples friends thing. Life got better when I decided that it was bullet and I started doing more things on my own that were in that weird realm. So I started doing that back in university. And I would go to movies by myself. I would go out to dinner by myself. I would, you know, go to plays by myself and enjoy them. And they were very enjoyable. But then, like, I couldn't tell people about that. If you want to talk, go to a house and load up Netflix. Yeah. For me, there's a certain spectacle of going to the movie theater. And obviously, they're my friends and I want to spend time with them. So, you know, baby steps. Plus, it's usually, like, explaining the plot. So it helps me, like, know what's going on as well. And now that I have to talk about movies for work, if I'm watching a movie with someone that I need to explain the plot to, I will probably have more things to talk about when I have to make content about it, inevitably. So I'm trying to look at the bright sides. Social expectations are kind of bull, in my opinion, because there's no real consistency. You can ask 10 people what the social expectation for something is and get 10 different answers. Yeah, it's a spectrum. Yeah. So, like, some things are hard and fast rules, like, don't kill anyone. But yeah, the social expectations vary by location. They vary by culture. I wouldn't say that they are completely inconsistent. I would say that if you ask 10 different people, you can get like 5 or 6 different answers. Because in order to figure out what they are, you need to pay a certain amount of attention to the world around you, right? You need to understand your immediate environment, your material conditions, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. Mega Bloks does this weird thing where it has me build blocks. Like, it literally just had me build a normal height 1x7 bricks out of a bunch of flat rather than giving me a 1x7 brick. Makes me wonder if doing that actually saves material or money in the long run compared to producing the whole brick. Maybe. So I've had to do that in Lego as well. In, like, the Creator Expert sets, back when Creator Expert was a thing. And that's basically all it is. So just check are those flat pieces that you've used in other parts of the set? Because if that's the case, it's easier to grab 5 flat pieces instead of 2 flat pieces than it is to grab 2 flat pieces and a brick from somewhere else. It does my head in so much when people talk through movies. There were 17s in front of me during Wakanda Forever talking through the entire film, almost as if they weren't even watching and just gossiping. 3 more pieces for the piece count. That too. I don't think Mega is too concerned with piece count, even though that's one of their value adds, is that more pieces means more detailed, right? But it's been a hot minute since I've looked at Mega's value statements as a company. But it was fascinating, right? Because everyone thinks, oh, Mega Bloks and Mega Construx to the knockoff Lego, but really they have different goals. And with those different goals, they can corner a different market. So it's fine. It's good to have diversity. It's good to have that sort of competition. More leftover from the big tree than I expected, but it's complete. I feel like the way that you were describing it with the 1x1s, I feel like there would be a lot of extra pieces, right? Wouldn't there? Because it's using a lot of 1x1s, and each of those gets 1 extra piece per set or 1 extra piece per bag. So Lego chess set has so many 11 plates. Which Lego chess set? The new one? Because I've only built the Pirates one from like 10 years ago and the Harry Potter one. And those have a few of like 8s and 10s, but I don't think 11 plates. This is one of the more complicated sets, but it's got lots of flats strewn about. 1x1s. Oh, 1x1s. Why does the chess set have a lot of 1x1s? Is it used in the board, or is it used in... I guess the pieces would have a lot of 1x1s in it. Let's see here. Toes. We're doing toes. Toes. Hydration check. Thank you for the hydration check. Ignore that. I ignore that in my counting. There's a lot of 2x2 yellow round flats and such. Why? The pattern's on the side. It's pretty cool looking, to be fair. Okay, that's fine. Thank you for the hydration check, and let's run some ads. I'm sorry if anyone who's watching and is not subscribed, but it's ad time. Ad time. I can't run the ads. The ads just ran. Wait. Do they make it... Are the ads automatic now? Like, if you request an ad, does it automatically play? Because that's happened the last few times where somebody has requested ad time and I couldn't do it because it was like it had just played an ad. Maybe that's the case. Maybe Twitch is automatically running ads when people redeem an ad time. Just took a while to build and fingers felt dry and sore. Yeah, you gotta moisturize. That's what I'm gonna do as soon as I get home. I'm gonna just lotion, and go sleep. No auto ads run from the request, but maybe you're on a timer. I am on a timer. They do run once an hour. But it says pre-roll is disabled and the ads are also disabled. You recently ran an ad, must wait for another. So maybe Chunks just has really good timing and runs ads at the appropriate ad time, or requests ads at the appropriate ad time. Okay, so it looks like we're not putting these legs on. Oh, we are putting these legs on. Okay, these legs are going here. There we go. And there we go. Nice articulated legs with friction hinges. There we go. Got a nice sitting tiger. What comes next? Ooh, beehole is next. You know when hungry but also comfy? You know when hungry but also streaming because you forgot to eat today? And you're just like, what food do I have in my proximity? And the only thing you have is cotton candy. Yeah, I know that feeling. I did not have therapy today. Like I was telling Haley earlier, and everyone, Haley asked about it, but I was telling everyone, the friendship course is done. So instead of having therapy, I hung out with an IRL friend. And it was very nice. Can I redeem a food check? You can try. I don't have food in the office right now. I don't have food. And I was running late with my friend and I had to get here on time, so I didn't pick up any food. This is candy cane cotton candy. I know, Haley, I know you're concerned, but I am going to eat something after the stream. So don't worry about it. Because I've been staying at my my brother's house for the last few days before Christmas, and then I dropped him at the airport. But because they're leaving for a few weeks, they emptied out their house of all the food. So I don't have food in their house, I don't have food in my house, and I don't have food in this house. I never have food in my house, but My parents just left and my brothers just left, so their fridges are empty. So there's just no food around. This is from the Cotton Candy Shop. It is a local. They're in. They're in Fort Saskatchewan. Made in Alberta. I guess Fort Saskatchewan is in Alberta and not in Saskatchewan. But yeah, this is a local artisan cotton candy. So my brother got me root beer flavor and candy cane flavor a few weeks ago, and I finished the root beer. Now I'm on to candy cane. So basically, it's minty cotton candy. It is minty cotton candy. It tastes exactly like candy canes. I am excited. Are you still getting the meal boxes? I am not still getting the meal boxes. I canceled them because they were very expensive, and because of my mental health at the time, I was only making like one meal a week because I just did not have the energy to make more than one. So I've gone back to the less healthy option of like salad kits and stuff like that. I just haven't stocked up recently. So tomorrow, the rest of my friends are leaving. So if I can get a good chunk of work done, I will go grocery shopping and I will make some food. I will meal prep some food and just have food available. But yeah, because that was $54 a week, and I would only end up making one of the meals, which is 2 servings, because they don't make those for single people. So it would be $54 for 2 meals, and that's just way too much money. Have you seen the TikTok of the lady who keeps a snack tray in her fridge? Maybe. I've seen a lot of fridge organization TikToks. I don't know if I've seen that specific one. But if you still have it, if it's in your likes or saves, send it over, and I'll check it out. But yeah. The food situation. Me and food. It's a bit of a problem. But it's fine. I mean, it's not fine because like food exacerbates all the other issues, or like lack of food exacerbates all the other issues. So eating makes you sick, not eating makes you sick. What can you do? Definitely do it. If you have like a regimented schedule, a good work schedule, and you have time and energy throughout the week, I would definitely get a meal kit. When I had a stable job and stable income, having a meal kit was the best thing ever because if I had a busy week, I would just make them all the day of and like refrigerate them or freeze them. Otherwise, it's like a de-stressor at the end of the workday to just make food and then eat it. But you're also in healthcare, so I don't know how stable your work week is going to be. Or how consistent it's going to be. I have one friend she lives out of town, but she's coming into town tomorrow because she has a shift at a hospital here. And then she's going back to her hometown because she has a shift in that town the next day. So I don't know how crazy it is for your new job, how crazy your new job is going to be. $54 should be like a week's worth of foods. So yes, it is. If I could make everything before it went bad, then it would be a week's worth of food, right? It would be between 4 and 6 meals, which I think is fine. The problem is, it's a local food. It's a local food kit. So everything that was coming in was fresh from the farm. No preservatives. No preservatives means it goes bad within days. Which means that if I skipped a meal, I couldn't just make it later. I would have to I'd have to throw it out because it would be bad by the time I got to it. That was the main issue that I had, is that I just couldn't make the meals before they went bad. So if I do it again, I either need to be way back on my mental health game, way better than I am right now, or I need to get one of those corporate ones, those businessy ones that have like that everything is like preservatives and not fresh food, which is less healthy but also easier to maintain, right? That's part of the convenience factor as well. I guess those meal boxes, I prefer eating little and often more than proper meals. Sandwich here, pot noodle here, toasty here, bit of fruit, then etc. Yeah, so if that's what you do, then don't do the meal kits, because the meal kits you are putting a lot of ingredients into one dish, and those ingredients do not taste good on their own. So you'll get like a slice of chicken, and then how do you divide that up into smaller things? It'll go cold and then you need to recook it, or you leave it uncooked and then it goes bad, or like whatever. If it's good if you eat a square meal a day, or however many meals you're paying for. I guess those meal boxes are also not amazing price per meal. They're about convenience and not having to shop. So there was a time recently, before Loblaws did their whole price freeze, where eating meal kits or eating out was cheaper than not doing that, than buying groceries and making them at home. There it is. There it is, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. There's the butthole. Is it ready? Is it ready? Is it here? I'm not seeing it. Are you guys seeing it? Let's see here. Emotes. It is still pending. Dang. Okay. Alright, that's fine. No emotes for the butthole. Just have to celebrate in silence. Unless you have butthole emotes from someone else's stream that you want to use. Do I? I might. No butthole emotes. I mean, I think it's the aromantic flag in the hands kind of looks like it, but nah. Oh well. This is what I get for not planning ahead. The meal box is cheaper than eating out usually. It's usually cheaper than eating out. That's the thing. I love making a big batch of fridge pasta, popping it in the fridge, grabbing a bowl every now and then, and it feeds me for the day. That's nice. What is the point of including that? I think they just wanted as anatomically correct as a tiger as possible. That's their official statement. I think, let me see if there's a video about it actually. YouTube, Lego Majestic Tiger, explanation? Let's see. The review, but why? Lego create a review. Okay, I can't find it, but they did put out an official explanation about why the tiger has the butthole, which is better than my explanation, which is in the Art of War, if you oh my goodness. In the Art of War, Lao Tzu uses an example of animals that fight the intersex flag. Yes, the intersex flag is the one with the circle. I can never keep the flag straight. I'm a bad vexillologist. Also, a lot of the point of meal kits for people to reduce food waste is cheaper to buy a bag of carrots, but if you only use carrots and the rest, it's not cheaper. Exactly. Yes, I mean the intersex flag. That's, ooh, chunks. I don't like that combination. All right, there it is. That's going to be there. And we're going to put it on the rest of the tiger. There we go. This is a lot more articulate of a body than I was expecting. Yeah. You got to find a use, and that takes a lot of time and energy, which a lot of people don't have, right? If you're a dual income household and both people are working, do you really want to come back from a work day and be like, what am I going to do with all these leftovers? No, you just want to just take what you have and make something that you already know is going to be good, right? Chomps on raw carrots when we got leftovers. Yeah. I love chomping on raw carrots. I like mini carrots. So when I'm optimistic grocery shopping, I will buy a bag of mini carrots and a tub of hummus because that's what I like to snack on. But when the going gets rough, that's too much effort for me to do, right? Opening up a bag of carrots and chomping on them is too overwhelming sometimes. So, I'm playing it safe. I'm playing it as safe as possible, which is also coincidentally as unhealthy as possible. Crock pot. Yes, crock pot is a thing. I want a sample of the sound of the carrot snapping to make a fun drum out of it. I'm sure you could make one of those if you have a decent mic set up. Also, the reality of buying groceries and doing meal planning mostly benefits larger families, not single people and couples. Exactly. My family is a Costco family. So every time we have that conversation, it's like, oh, you should shop at Costco. You should shop at Costco. And I'm like, I cannot possibly have a Costco amount of food in my house. It will go bad and we will lose hundreds of dollars. I cannot have a Costco amount of food in my house. It is simply not possible. It's also amazing how much food freezes, right? The problem that I have with freezing is that it is harder to unfreeze, right? It's adding an extra step. Right now in my apartment, I don't have a microwave. So anything that I eat at home needs to be toasterable or stoveable or ovenable or ready to eat, right? So quick meals don't do it for me. The single meal kits like the Swansons, not Swansons, the off-brand Swansons, because we don't support Swansons in this house. They can be made in the oven. They can be prepared in the oven. So that's fine for me. And I was living off those for the first few years that I was here on my own. But it's, variety is the spice of life, etc. Freezing also requires a lot of space. Yeah, to be fair, when the mental health is in the toilets, planning ahead is hard. Planning ahead is hard. And also following through on any plans that you made ahead is very hard. So, that's priority number one for me right now is getting the mental health back in order. Which is, you guys know how it is. Why don't we support Swansons? Because Swansons, Tucker Carlson will inherit the Swanson fortune once the Swanson people die. And I don't want to give Tucker Carlson any more money. That's why I don't support Swansons. I'm sure their food is fine, but, politics. That's why it's always funny when Tucker Carlson is like, I'm for the working people. What about hardworking Americans? Like, no, you have millions, if not billions of dollars waiting for you in your inheritance. Like, you are not a hardworking American. You're not. Kind of like Ted Cruz. I always like it when Ted Cruz is like, we need to put America first. America is the best. I'm like, but you're Canadian, so like, what are you really trying to do? Are you really that American, Ted Cruz? I can see your hospital that you were born in from my house. Not anymore, I moved, but I got excited seeing a Pringles can and I remembered I ate the rest of them an hour ago. I have An unopened can of Pringles in my apartment. Okay, after I get some decent food and like some food groups, I will go ham on that can of Pringles. After I get the food groups. Gotta get the food groups first. I'll probably get some shawarma, actually, because there is a very nice shawarma place between here and home that is open till late. So that will be my dinner. And I like shawarma because it has all the food groups. It's got your protein, it's got your veggie, it's got your grains. I don't like Tucker Carlson's face. I don't either. What flavor Pringles? Mine are original. I don't know what flavor. Oh, Alex is asking. Okay, what flavor do you have? Mine are original. I don't eat anything other than original. Sometimes pizza. If I want to feel like a kid, I'll eat pizza. But it's usually just original. Shawarma looks so lovely. It is so lovely. It is the best. I used to be like on the edge of shawarma because it's like it's good, but it's not that good. But then I got it without any of the pickled stuff. So normally when you get shawarma, it has like pickled peppers, pickles, pickled onions, pickled radishes. I'm like, none of that stuff. Fresh vegetables only. And it's crunch. And it's like hot stuff and cold stuff next to each other. It's perfect. It's perfect. I don't like pickles. I don't like pickled anything. Like, they're tolerable on sandwiches and burgers and stuff, but I'm not going to go out of my way to have pickles. Just not a fan. Just not a fan. That's what my sister-in-law is for. If my sister-in-law was still in town, I would give her my pickles because she loves them. She bought a whole jar of maple-flavored pickles. Why? I don't know. But she did. Anyway, the shame. I like cucumbers. I can have cucumbers raw. I can have cucumbers with a little bit of salt on it. I can have grilled cucumbers. I can have a cucumber sandwich. I just don't like pickles. I can have radishes. I'm not a fan of radishes. I can have onions, but I don't like pickled onions, you know? Maybe it's just the vinegar I don't like. Da-da-da. Cucumbers are lovely. Cucumbers, right? You get the forgot what it was. Bread. I forgot the word for bread. You take the bread, you cut off the crust, you cut it into squares, put just a little bit of light mayo on it, a single cucumber, dash of salt. That's a good snack. That's a good snack. I don't like any fermented food. Yeah, I was motioning towards the crust, but I was thinking of bread. I don't think I like any fermented foods. Yeah, I don't think I do. It's just, ugh, I don't know. I like the crunch. I like the crunch that you can get with fresh veg. That's what I like. I feel like fermented foods and pickled foods are like oozy. They kind of ooze. I don't like it. And they're also bitter, so I don't like the taste either. Kimchi. What is kimchi? Have I had kimchi? I know that kimchi is a food. I just can't picture it right now. Kimchi. Cabbage. Salted and fermented vegetables. I don't think I've had kimchi. I will have to try it and I will get back to you. There is a Korean restaurant across the street from me, so I might try it. I'm down to try new things, even if I don't like fermented foods. The crunchy pickles are the best. I like crunchy cucumbers, though, not crunchy pickles. Kimchi looks amazing. I want to put it in my face, but I have to either find it or learn how to make it. Korean food is good. I like Korean barbecue. I like Korean sauces. but kimchi is one of the things. Pho, I like pho. Pho is Korean, right? Hold on, I gotta double check. Nope, redirect. Pho is Vietnamese. Never mind. I like pho. Pho is Vietnamese, but I also like Korean barbecue. And kimchi, I haven't tried kimchi. Thank you. Thanks, Chunks, for letting me know that that's not the case. It is Vietnamese. There was a Chinese restaurant growing up. I'm sure it's still there. Maybe it burned down. It's in my hometown, so it might have burned down. Chinese restaurant called Spice China that we would go to whenever there was like a special occasion, and their egg drop soup was so good. So good. I have not had egg drop soup like it ever. But then they went through like some heavy renovations and they opened up a sushi bar. And I was really confused because sushi is not Chinese. And this restaurant is literally called China. So, you know, capitalism, I guess. Also, Mongolian barbecue. I don't know if it's actually Mongolian or if it's just branded as Mongolian, but that Mongolian barbecue where you go to the buffet and you pick up all your raw vegetables and you pick up all your raw meats and your noodles and your rice and stuff, and then they cook it for you. That's so good. Mongolian barbecue. I have a coworker who is Malaysian, so now I need to try Malaysian food. Try Malaysian food. I don't have any suggestions. I can't think of any Malaysian food off the top of my head. But also, I'm so bad at like where food comes from. I mentioned this in one of the comments about the familial names, where I'm just now unpacking what from my childhood is Gujarati and what is African, what is Swahili, and part of that is the food. Like, I grew up under the assumption that I was eating Indian food when my mom cooked it, and I'm just now learning that that a lot of the food that I ate growing up was not Indian food. And a lot of the words that my family and my grandparents would say were not Indian words. So I'm learning. I'm learning a lot. I just had akni for dinner a few days ago, and I was talking about it, and people were like, "What's akni?" And then I Googled it, and I'm like, akni is the African version of biryani, which is an Indian food. So, like, akni is not even African. And she was like, yeah, we called it yakni. And I'm like, don't call it yakni. It tastes good. It's African biryani. It's a dry biryani with, well, I put cheese on it, and she called me whitewashed. But it's good. It's good with cheese. There was a fire. December 31st of last year, my hometown burned down. Let me see if I can find pictures. How dare you make food to how you like it? So whitewash SMH my ad. Yeah. She's from Gujarat, so she's like very particular about the food, the Indian food that she eats. So maybe she sees the African version of the food as like an insult to her Indian culture. Yes, the whole town and the town next to it completely burned down. Like, I can't even tell you which neighborhood this is. I think this is by the rec center. Like the whole, this is my neighborhood. This is where I grew up. And this house, oh, you can't see my mouse. Hold on, let me move it in here. This house, all the way on the end, is my house. This is where I grew up. So we are one of 5 houses on the street that didn't burn down. The entire rest of the street is gone. So, yeah. Little boxes. The other day I was making cheese toasties and putting pepper on it, and I hear from the next room, "What the hell is he putting on his food?" And I shouted back, "Flavor," just because she doesn't know flavor. Yeah. That's the other thing. On my grilled cheese sandwiches, I put salsa. And people are like, "What are you doing?" Um, but it tastes good. Grilled cheese sandwich with salsa tastes good. Same thing with burgers. If I'm making burgers at home, I will put a fruit on it. And yeah, people get weirded out at me for that. I know someone who puts marshmallows on grilled cheese. So I haven't heard of marshmallows on grilled cheese. I've heard of marshmallows and peanut butter grilled as a sandwich. I've never tried it, but it sounds like it would be good. Alex says, "Sorry, the entire town." Yes. The entire city of Louisville and the town next to it called Superior, not so Superior now, are you? Are gone. They're just gone. I mean, like, not 100% of the town, but like 95% of the town is just gone. Um, so what happened was there was a cult in Denver, and part of their rituals were having these really, really, really large bonfires. And they had the fire marshals called on them multiple times for multiple violations. Um, and so this time last year was like really, really dry. It hadn't snowed yet by December 31st. Um, so it was like really dry, really windy. So the wind picked up one of those bonfires, and then there was also a power line that fell down. So the two fires sort of added to each other, um, and just wiped out the entire city. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Um, so there was this cult. I think it's called Seven Tribes. I think that's the name of the cult. Um, Louisville Fire. Netflix did a documentary on them, and they were 12 tribes, not 7 tribes, 12 tribes. So if you want to look that up on Netflix, I think it was before the actual fire. But yeah. The Marshall Fire. It's called the Marshall Fire. Now the most destructive in the state's history may have started on land owned by what have dubbed a religious cult, the 12 Tribes. The folks moved to the area after an observer driving by noticed a shed fire on land owned by the sect on the morning before the wildfire started. The observer shot a video of the blaze, which was posted to Twitter. It has so far been viewed 117,000 times. So yeah, they did one of their indoor bonfires, lit up the building, and then just they took over the rest of the city. 12 Tribes is a confederation of 12 worldwide self-governing tribes made up of self-governing communities. We are disciples of the Son of God, whose name in Hebrew is Yahshua. We follow the pattern of the early church written in Acts 2:44 and 4:32. I'm not going to look those up. Sharing all things in common, we believe that everything is written in the Old and New Covenant of the Bible. So it's Christians. It's a Christian cult. Southern Poverty Law Center described the 12 tribes as a cult and detailed some of its allegedly hateful and problematic beliefs. Christian fundamentalist cult born in the American South in the 1970s is little known to much of the country, and on first impression, its communes and hippie-vibed restaurants and cafes can seem quite quaint and bucolic. What does that word mean? Relating to a pleasant aspect of the countryside. Oh, so it's like cottagecore. But beneath the surface lies a tangle of doctrine that teaches its followers that slavery was a marvelous opportunity for black people who are deemed by the Bible to be servants of whites, and that homosexuals deserve no less than death. Cool. So they just the worst parts, I guess. What Netflix hasn't made a documentary on? When two fires love each other very much. Um, I just found out that Netflix made a documentary about a guy that got lost in the Amazon rainforest and befriended an ocelot. So I think Netflix has made a documentary about everything. Appears that documentary is unavailable in the UK. Netflix, dang it. Dang nammit. Do you say dang nammit in the UK? I thought it was dang nabbit. Most cults are Christian adjacent. I wouldn't say most. Like most American cults are. But I wouldn't say most global cults are. There is a large swath of Hindu cults that profit off of Westerners coming in and pretending that they've done something. Did I build this backwards? I think I built the wrong foot. Yeah. The cults that you hear about. Yeah. That's why I said American cults. If you're watching the American news, then that's what you hear about. But I built this backwards. Okay. I built the correct foot and the wrong leg. So let me try this again. Cargo cults are a mix of the coolest and the weirdest. What is a cargo cult? How did I built the wrong leg. No, this is the right leg. This is the right leg. And the wrong foot? I am so confused. Are the instructions wrong? Okay, let me show you what I'm looking at here. So this, we're just looking at the upper leg part, right? These are going in the same direction, right? And the foot goes like this. And then it goes like this. It is the right one. Okay. I just USB ported myself into a conundrum. Okay, we're fine. We're back on it. I did it right. Every time the screen shares, we get the full circle song. Does it do that? I did not realize that it did that. Why does it do that? I guess the screen share has the full circle song as one of its elements, so it just starts every time that happens. Where is it? Is it here? Oh, it is. There it is. It's playing quietly in the background. Okay, it's gone now. Oh, if it's making your day, then we'll keep it on. From my angle, the light that I just turned on is directly blocking the audio mixer, so it's like... I hear the song, but why is it called the Full Circle song? It's because... Okay, you missed it a few weeks. So, a lot of the times in the stream, we go full circle and we end up reaching around to a topic that we covered earlier. So the Full Circle song is... Let me pull it up. It's a song from the show Big Comfy Couch, where Lunette, the main character... I'll just show you. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let me turn off the Big Comfy Couch song so that you can hear it in context. This one.
Do you ever roll around on the floor like me?
So anyway, That's what's going on. When we go full circle on the stream, that's why it plays that sound. I don't know why it's playing it every time I go to screen share. I gotta fix that. I would do this with her as a kid. Hit my head on so much stuff. Yeah, you need to have the space to do it. I did that with my niece, and like, cause she needs to tone up her legs a little bit because she's having trouble walking. So I did the stretch with her, and it's fun. But she's tiny and she can't move anywhere, so she can't hit her head on stuff. Cargo cults are what happens when indigenous folks get exposed to the rest of the world's aid in some way. Then they develop a series of rituals, idols. That's how people work, though. At least according to the anthropologists, I guess, is that when something good happens that's not explainable, people try to explain it. And if they don't have the right explanation, then they'll be like, okay, well, we did this, and then the good thing happened. So if we tried again, then more good things would happen, right? It's just part of being human. It's part of that pattern recognition that I always talk about. It's, interesting, but a little bit dehumanizing that people are still, doing it that way. But it's an interesting phenomenon to look into. But their idols are like planes and sticks and such. Yeah, so I guess from an outsider's perspective, that is weird because we know what a plane is. But it's the same thing that the ancient alien people are talking about, even though the ancient alien people are wrong about everything. Is that the planes are significant to them, so they build sculptures of what's significant. We do the same thing. Yeah. If you get more emotes, we should do a big comfy couch one. We should. I think I'd have to remove some of my faces. I'll look at what's being used the least, and I can make a big comfy couch one. But yeah, we just make structures that are significant to us, right? Even if we're looking at Muslim architecture, for example, a lot of that is based on Christian architecture, Byzantine architecture, because you go there and there are these larger than life buildings, and that's what gives people a sense of awe. So the Muslims stole that, and they're like, we're gonna make awe-inspiring mosques using the same stuff. If we're not doing Lego Star Wars, maybe the mini kit. The mini kit was one of the most used ones this year. But you're right, if we're not doing Star Wars anymore, then we don't need the mini kit anymore. I can get rid of that one. Stuff means stuff, including how we build things. Yeah. What if UFOs existed back then because we invented time travel, but only to certain times? Maybe. But then it'd be sort of a closed loop, right? I mean, it's not impossible, but it's also not the most possible. The Aliens meme dude, he was in a comedy with Alan Tudyk called A Resident Alien. It was dang funny. I did not know about that. It's got Alan Tudyk in it, so it's got to be good, right? Everything with Alan Tudyk in it, except for The Good Dinosaur, is good. Ironically, The Good Dinosaur is bad. Trying to save the mini kits. That's fine. I think I have stats for who's using what, so I will take a look, and I will see what's on the decline. Is more of a funny idea. Probably not true. But it's interesting to think about. I think the problem that I have with the Ancient Aliens and the popularity of Ancient Aliens is that it's really racist. It's pretty much saying that people of color, because it's never like stuff that white people build that's like, ooh, Ancient Aliens build this. It's always stuff that people of color build, and it's like, well, they couldn't possibly have done that. Because obviously not. Look at them. They're uncivilized. They don't know anything. They're dumb people of color. They can't build a pyramid. And that's the basis of the whole Ancient Aliens theory, is that people of color can't do stuff that white people don't do. Caveman dump, can't do fire. Yeah. But, that's colonialism for you. That's the remnants of colonialism in action on TV, if you are inclined as such. It's really bloody good. The alien prosthetic Tudyk wears is really good. Let me find it and pop it in the Discord. Yeah, pop it in the Discord. Meanwhile, cavemen knew how to not die to eating the wrong berries. Hard disagree on that. Caveman knew how to learn from his mistakes or her mistakes. Cave person learned from their mistakes, which is something that I think is a lost art for many people, right? They learn from the mistakes of other people instead of repeating them, right? Whereas, I don't know, if you look at a random industry like cryptocurrency, for example, they're just going to run headfirst into the same mistakes that the last like global monetary system made, which is not having a basis for currency, removing a practical, real basis for the currency so that inflation can happen, so that weird amounts of greed can happen, so that unfathomable wealth can happen, so that unfathomable poverty can happen. They didn't learn from any of the mistakes, so they're doomed to repeat them. So caveman smart enough to learn from mistakes. Modern day man, not so much. Stretch, thank you for the stretch. Inflation happens regardless. It's just difficult to contain in a system. Right. But inflation is exacerbated by having not real amounts of money, right? It can be contained by having some sort of physical thing, which cryptocurrency does not. There is no limit to cryptocurrency. The only limit is how many people buy in to their problem. I think you said different in your chat. Oh my goodness. Mint plus cotton candy just dried out my mouth instantly. I think I missed that in the first episode. I watched the first episode, and I don't remember. I read difficult instead of different. It's just different in contained systems, yes. Right. It is based on people wanting gold to a certain extent. But in that same way, gold acted as the fiat currency, right? You don't need to have, gold does not need to have an intrinsic value. It has an agreed upon value. And it is limited. It is physically limited, right? The problem that we're running into now is that there is no inherent value and it's not limited, as opposed to having no inherent value and being limited. And it's just the little things, right? So based on something real versus not, it's only as valuable as people want. Yes. But having it be a real physical thing imposes that limit, right? That's why bottle caps works in Fallout, because there's a limited number of bottle caps. And the population doubles, gold inflates to accommodate. Yes, which is not, then that's still like, it's changing the standard, which is the same thing that fiat currency does, which is the problem. The very first one from 1963 with Bill Hartnell, and not the first Chris Eccleston from 2005. No, I've seen the first 3 or 4 episodes of Doctor Who. It was just a while ago, like the first one. If only we could use base money on potatoes. We can at least eat potatoes. I mean, yeah, but then you're gonna have the same thing that we have in cryptocurrency, and just have like these offshore farms making millions and millions and millions of really bad quality but technically still potatoes, and then, you know, flooding the market with them. But it's a weird thing to do. I think we should go back to bartering. I feel like that's the only solution. That way, if you want something, then you either contribute or you rely on somebody else helping you. And we'd all be more cognizant of that instead of having this middleman of like taxation to help people, which I know Hyan's not a fan of. You can't eat gold if you're hungry. That's part of it, right? Part of the reason why gold is a thing is that you can only use it for, you know, it doesn't have any other use than looking the way it does. If we used copper, then we could, you know, get rid of the copper and use something else. And use the copper for something else, I meant. And we've had to do that. When war times comes around, you have to take all the stuff that you used to make money, use them to make weapons, right? And that, who knows what that does to the market? I'm sure somebody smarter than me knows. Farmer's market with my dad's picks up a rock and goes to introduce it to his head. But Ian stops in its first 5 minutes of the second episode. Okay. On my rewatch, I will keep an eye out for that. Bartering, but so we have to carry bags of potatoes. Let's put numbers on paper, like 1 potato, quarter potato. And then we're back to the problem. Unless those potatoes are backed up physically somewhere, we are back to our problem. So, you know, maybe money is the problem. Maybe currency is the problem. Maybe goods and services being valued by something outside of the good and service is the problem. Who knows? I don't. I'm not a smart person. All right, this leg is done. Can't get away from the problem on a national scale. Exactly. Which is why we shouldn't have nations. There you go. All of my, where did this come from? Where did this come from? I don't know. All of my hot takes are here on stream instead of on, oh, I know where this came from. Okay. Instead of on TikTok. All right. Good night, Haley. Have fun. Bartering was never a predecessor to alternate currency at any scale. It was part of the process. It was part of the process with trade, and it was part of the process with money. The problem is that it just devalues everything that it touches. Because the whole point of bartering is to remove the intrinsic value of something. But that's somebody else's problem for another time. Right now, I gotta enjoy this butthole tiger. Okay. Yes, and I know why we can't live. I know why you think we can't live ungoverned. That was a long sentence. Yes, you've made that clear. But I don't see a reason why we need a national government. I don't see a reason why the people who do the governing need to be disconnected from the people that they govern in such a way, right? Okay, this is interesting. I wonder if I can get this to balance a little bit more. Spread the legs apart. Get that butthole in there. There? Standing? Standing. Yeah. I miss the idea of community, like you all just share what you need without bartering. Yeah, so you want Akhil's lukewarm takes TikTok, you want hot takes Twitch is where it's at. No, we got you spitting white hot takes on Discord. Discord, I actually think about it. I think about what I say before I say it. But here, there's no time to think. There's no time to think. It's just go. It's just go. I think governing should be in smaller amounts. Sure, big government, little people. Little government, big people. I think little government, little people. Especially because our government is designed to only be run by rich people. And to not just be run by rich people, but like only help rich people. That's why I get really put off when people say like that we have a free market or that we have whatever unregulated capitalism, because we don't. It's just the regulations are in favor of capital. But there are a lot of regulations to make sure that rich people get more rich and poor people stay poor. When only rich, when I say big people, I mean who has power. Oh, okay. So so like a few people with a lot, like an oligarchy is what you're looking for, or a monarchy. Like one or a small group of people that have all the power and everybody just kind of listens to them. Because that's usually what happens in theocratic states as well. Is that the one person that's appointed by God, like here in Canada, then everyone else just has to listen to them. And they can choose to limit their powers if they choose to, like here in Canada. It makes sense that it works for rich people. Yeah, because they want to be more rich. What we don't have right now is accountability when it comes to rich people, when it comes to the government, because the American fantasy is that if you keep working and if you keep following the rules, you will also become a rich person, even though that is not true. There needs to be a government to protect and such, but not beyond these basic powers. The government creates monopolies. Like I said in the healthcare chat that we had on Discord, the government can also reduce monopolies with the assumption that they're being held accountable by the people, which in the United States is certainly not happening. The government is accountable to no one. The Prime Minister in the UK right now is not only the only literally unelected in any sense of the word, he's worth $730 million, the richest person in the Parliament, I think, ever. I think that's the same as Canada, is where the Prime Minister is not elected, but the party is elected. I don't know how much money Trudeau is making, though. And I feel like it would be very, very sad if I found out. I would be sad if I found out. Imani has a good video on that. There are a lot of millionaires down on their luck. Yes. The John Steinbeck quote is, America doesn't have poor people, just temporarily embarrassed millionaires. I'm paraphrasing. But the temporarily embarrassed millionaires part is the important part. Monopolies are preferable when competition itself is impractical, such as utilities and infrastructure. So I'm going to agree with Podius on that. Competition for inelastic demand is terrible, absolutely terrible, because what you end up with is a very expensive, very bad product that people will still buy because it's inelastic, which means people will buy it no matter what the price is, no matter what the quality is, right? For things like houses, for medication, for stuff like that. But for general commerce, for commodities, for stuff like that, things where there is elastic demand, sure, let your competition happen. At least in my area, utilities are required to share the same price they pay. Power companies are required to deliver others' rate they deliver. So, Hyan, pop quiz. Who enforces that? Who made that requirement and who enforces it? Not a single person voted for him, not even a single member of his own party. He won the race by default because everyone else was dropping out at the last second. Boris Johnson dropped out of the race while Jody Whittaker was regenerating. I love that that is your measure of time. Then Penny Mordaunt dropped out minutes before the confidence vote ended and then started the actual race. I feel like the same thing happened in America, where Biden became the best candidate because everybody else dropped out. And had someone who wasn't Biden still been in the race, I think it would have either split the vote or, and like split the vote and then Trump becomes the president for reals, or we would have just had a better person in office than what we currently have. But yeah, utilities need regulation as a result. Yes, but there's no sensible way to have multiple parallel gas lines and power lines into a building. Government, sure, but how many regulations have they created that offset things? They don't want to risk splitting the vote. They don't want to risk splitting the vote, so they're going to put in a candidate that doesn't actually want to change anything. Right? Biden, nothing will fundamentally change. That's what he said in his campaign to his donors, who are rich, because he is only working in favor of the rich. Which is also why he hasn't canceled student loans, even though it is entirely within the power of the president to do so. Because he wants to play the game of politics. And when you play the game of politics, you lose, because other people are cheating at the game of politics and they win. Looking for some 1x1 domes that are black and white. Government, sure, but how many regulations have they created that offset things? Not a lot. Not a lot. But we are looking at regulations that, when the government that we have right now in the United States, the problem is not that they regulate things or don't regulate things. The problem is that all of their regulations are in favor of the wealth class. Right? So regulating utilities is in favor of the wealth class, because utility companies have figured out that if you build utilities and then don't use them, you still get money from the government, and you don't have to actually use the utilities that you build, right? So there's a lot of neighborhoods, including the neighborhood that I used to live in, that had a bunch of construction to put fiber in, and then nobody uses fiber because it's more expensive to switch over to fiber. But you get the paycheck from the government to build fiber, so your shareholders get money, and nobody actually has better internet, right? You got a little tail. Does it hide the butthole? It hides the butthole. Perfect. Rate base means price hikes. Price hikes means profit. Use of that is meaningless. I worked for a utility for a while. Yeah. So, the underlying problem is that the government is not responsible to the people, right? If there was some accountability, whether it's in, a more democratic process when it comes to elections instead of using the Electoral College, whether it was more education about how the government works, what they have control over, and how to get involved, which there isn't a lot of right now, or whether it's guillotines, the government needs to be held accountable for the people, otherwise they will just keep running amok. And they will use every tool in their toolbox, which is a lot of tools, to do so. If only there was some sort of leader that was just benevolent and never died. Didn't have to worry about anyone challenging their power. That would be nice. Has never ever happened in the history of ever. Even if there is a benevolent leader, there is somebody greedy who wants to challenge their power. So the only real solution that I can see is democratizing the government further, putting more power to the people, and making sure that the government is held accountable to the power that the people possess. That's all I can think of in the current situation. Did you just watch Harry and the Meghan documentary? I did not. I don't care about them. I don't care what's going on with them. I don't care about the secret lives of rich people. I heard it was controversial. I don't know why, because I haven't looked into it. But this one. It looks purple on the instructions, but it's actually red. Guillotines are always used in moments of history. Look positively back on people want to repeat. I mean, they're not. They're not. Usually when people harken back to the time of guillotines, they're thinking of the French Revolution, which was baller. But guillotines are also a tool used by oppressors to oppress people, right? It's a tool. Guillotines are not good or bad, they're tools. And if they're good or bad depends on how you use them. So you can use them to hold the government accountable. You can also use them to execute people that you don't like and hold the government less accountable. It's interesting how they explain the British monarchy and how it works and how desperate the firm is to protect it. Okay, that may be an interesting thing to learn then. We have more buttholes. We have buttholes behind the eyes. Okay, all right. This is definitely the case of we don't want to have two different 1-by-1 rounds, so we're going to use one piece for everything. I think my government should respect my opinion more if I showed up physically to remove them from office. That's what I'm saying. Right, Anthony? So many. We're on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is butthole number 9 going into this tiger. Yeah. If you could physically remove the president from office or a government official from office, then that would be a lot better. The problem is the people that are responsible for removing people from office are the people that are in office. So they have no incentive to remove someone from office. That piece is gone forever. Because in the two-party system, if you remove someone from the opposing side, guess what? You're next on the chopping block. Onto the pre-existing hole. What if I put a jumper plate? What if I put a jumper plate here so that there's 2 buttholes? Double buttholes. Apparently they really wanted those pieces for the bonsai tree for the panda build, so they had to come up with ways to use them for the tiger. Does the panda use them? Where's the box? Oh yeah, you're right. They're all there on the tree. Alright, that's fair. I can't argue with that. So a smaller government where people could just show up and walk in would be easier and less bloody. Yes. So that's what I mean when I say further democratize. Like, if you are going to pass a law, any law, have that publicly available. Have a town hall where people can come and make their voices heard. And if town halls are inaccessible, if you live in like a rural area or a place where people have to work or they can't travel, have an online one. We have the resources for that, right? But if you give power to the people, that's less power for the people in charge. I could be jumping octo butthole enlarger. I'm just trying to think of what jumper plates I have on hand, which is none. I have none jumper plates on hand. You mean like the way a local and small government works? Exactly. Exactly. But then, the only real reason that we have a federal government, like you said, is for protection. And so, divulging into smaller governments, even though they're better for the people, they would cost us the military-industrial complex. Which means a lot of rich people will stop having income, and a lot of brainwashed people will stop having something to be proud of. The Tory party removed Boris Johnson, we got Liz Truss. They removed Liz Truss, we got Rishi Sunak. They just take it in turns. 3 PMs in 1 year, the general public don't get a single day in effect unless you pay for Tory party membership. Exactly. People cannot participate in that government. It's unfortunate, but it's true. This is not the right piece. Oh, this thing's gonna have canines. Look at that. It's gonna have little putting in the gums. Okay. There we go. Get you a little Tom Cruise tooth, middle tooth. International and interstate matters is all the federal government should handle. The Constitution even describes it that way. Yeah, but who actually reads the Constitution, dude? Nobody reads the Constitution. They just say Constitution. Think it means something. Rich always rule over the poor. Welcome to life. Right. And essentially they're not going to give their power up willingly. Obviously, we know that. So what they do is they make sure that people don't have the ability to participate in government, right? That's why we have unsubsidized education, right? Because if people knew more about the world around them, they would want to participate in government. We can't have that. This is why we have poverty level minimum wages, because if you are working multiple jobs, 80 plus hours a week, just to put a roof over your head, just to put food on your table, like most Americans are, you don't have time to engage in politics. Especially if that politics is centralized in a federal government. Because then you have to participate, in order to participate in your politics, you have to participate in everyone's politics. That takes time, that takes resources, so they make sure you don't have those things. How would a smaller government affect things like disability pay and child support enforcement? You would have to have those departments locally, right? You wouldn't be able to have federal anything for that. Which means if you have a local government that people actually participate in, it means the people who are making these decisions about the support that you're getting and the support that you're giving, they have to see the people who are disabled, which I think would incentivize them to do more. I think. I'm straying into the realm of hypothetical here, right? Because if you are in charge of the national disability budget, for example, let's assume there's such a thing, then you have to look at numbers and you have to make your decision based on numbers, right? But if you are in a if you are in charge of the local disability fund, then you have to look at the people and see what disabilities do they have, what disabilities do they need to address, what support can you give to families who are directly asking you support. And I think, and Hein's going to disagree with me, I think that would be enough to incentivize support in that local system. The money has to come from the community. There was a TikTok that I saw earlier today. Forget where it was. There was some community somewhere that passed a bill where 20% of their local budget was voted on. People could vote to where that money goes. And what ended up happening is because people saw the effect and had a say in the decision making, they actually volunteered to raise their own taxes in order to cover this. Because they get to decide where it goes, right? And I think if, like, from my experience, if half of my tax dollars didn't go into making Shia children skeletons, I would gladly pay more taxes, right? That's why I moved to Canada, because, and this is from the healthcare discussion as well, is because in the States, the cost of tax plus healthcare, so the tax is lower in the States, the overall tax is lower in the States, tax is higher here. But I know with these taxes that other people, the people that I see every day, have access to healthcare. They have access to public services. The friendship class that I went is at a recovery center. It's at an addiction recovery center. And it was 100% free, right? My taxes paid for that. So I feel like in a community where people are seeing the impact of their taxes, and the people who decide where the taxes go see and talk to the people that it impacts, then they will find a way to get the money, right? I think that would happen. There's no reasonable way to test that on a large scale. Works on small scale, don't know how to test it on large scale. Liz Truss threw that manifesto out the window and crashed the economy. Rishi Sunak says he stands behind that manifesto, but not a single person voted for him. The majority of UK want the UK general election. Right. The programs would be tailored to each local area, right? So if you are, like, I don't even know, man. I can't even think of an example, right? If you are far away from an interstate highway, then you don't have to pay, then you wouldn't have to pay taxes to make sure that the interstate highway is taken care of, right? And even, okay, better example, this is a better example. Right now, a lot of states are taking money from Washington, which is coming from other states, right? California's paying in, places like Kentucky are taking a lot out, right? So if people weren't giving that money to other states, they could use that to help their own people, right? And if they can't help their own people, then it's up to the people to say, you're not helping us, we need to reform what you do. But that would be something I'd be willing to pay for in order to make, oh, I missed something. Okay, the program would be tailored to each local area because that's who wants it and needs it, plus you can focus on exactly what you need instead of dealing with every situation. Exactly. I actually kind of agree. If I saw a bunch of homeless people in my area, I would want to have them off the streets. So that's the thing, right? Is I have a lot of homeless people in my area. I buy coffee and breakfast for a bunch of homeless people in my area, right? When it's minus 30 outside, like it was last week, I want them off the streets, right? I can't individually help them. I don't have space in my apartment. I don't have the funds to do that. I don't have the medical knowledge necessary. So my expectation is that my taxes are doing that. That when they need healthcare, whether it's frostbite or overdose or whatever, they have access to healthcare because my taxes are paying for it. When they need a warm place to stay, they have a warm place to stay because my taxes are paying for it. When they need mental health treatment, they have mental health treatment because my taxes are paying for it. That's my expectation. Instead of the federal government taking half of my taxes and using it to make bombs to blow up people that look like me, I don't want that. I want people being helped here. But that would be something I would be willing to pay for in order to make my life better and my area better. But if my area is nice, then why should I pay for someone in California to not be homeless, right? So that brings us back to the small government, right? If we have small governments, then you can pay for that if that's a problem, right? And then the people in California, because they have all of this extra money that they're not giving to Kentucky anymore, they can fix that problem too for them. Kind of playing the angle with this one, not exactly my thoughts. Right? The angle is how you get politics. And a smaller area also makes it hard when a rural community gets hit. Who supports that community? Yeah. And if you and everyone in your area want to pool their money, then sure, let's vote on that because it's a problem that we have locally. That, my friend, is socialism. you just described socialism, which is fine. I have nothing against that. But yeah, so in emergencies, chunks, it would be nice to have a safety net, right? We don't have a safety net now. When things happen in small communities, it is like pulling an arm and a leg to get any support from outside that community, right? When my hometown burned down, most of the help came from the city next door. It came from Boulder, right? Those were the only people willing to help. So we can't count on that support now. But it would be nice to have one of those things. One of the things that the science actually agrees with is when there is a disaster, the local resources do way, way more than any federal resources, right? If you want to go city to city in the States and figure out which one of these cities can survive a natural disaster, which one of these cities can survive an emergency, the number one indicator is, do they have a library? Do they have a well-funded public library? That's how you know if the community is going to survive or not. And it's not because they have a library, like people aren't hiding from hurricanes in libraries, but if you prioritize your library, you're prioritizing the well-being of your people. And what researchers have found is that in communities that prioritize public services all the time, they fare better in natural disasters, in emergencies, way better than anyone else, right? So yes, getting federal help sounds good, but the research says investing in your own community actually helps. I don't know of any libraries that have bomb shelters. That's news to me. And if you and everyone in your area want to pool their money, because we all voted locally to help each other, and now we're pooling our money to not help ourselves. Exactly. Oop, it's 4 a.m. You should probably go to bed fairly soon. Yeah, you probably should. I'm going to wrap up fairly soon. We're almost done with the tiger here, so I'm going to wrap up pretty soon anyway. The area I use, walk in, drive around, work in the areas that I use. Yeah. I'm defining it the same way. So, not a lot of homelessness here in Calgary, but in downtown, on the train line, on the downtown train line, a lot. A lot, a lot. So, when I pay taxes, I want to make sure that those people are being helped. That is wispy. This is a wispy tiger face because it's sideways. Hold on. There we go. That lines up a little bit better. Yeah. Right. And I think this is sort of where the conversation led in Discord as well, is that when we want to help, when we say we want to help the people around us, how big is that bubble, right? Because when I moved to Canada, I knew going in that my taxes would go to help people that I will never see, right? People in other cities, people in other provinces. And I chose that because I knew people were going to get helped with my tax dollars, right? Whereas in America, it's 50-50, right? Maybe your tax dollars will fix a road. Maybe they're going to go into a Javelin missile. 50-50, right? So, if you want to help the people around you, do you also want to help the people around them? That is the question. Make it reasonable, big, where you'll use most of the area, right? So that's what it was, right? When Louisville and Superior burned down, Boulder County is the one that came to the rescue. And most of the money in Boulder County, most of the resources in Boulder County are in Boulder, because that's where the science center is, that's where the tourism is, that's where the university is, that's where the commerce happens, right? So it was the county that was helping out, but it was mostly Boulder. And I'm curious, now that I'm saying this out loud, would you count that as your community, Hyan, specifically? If you were in the economic center of a county, would you be okay with other places in the counties not doing that? Or like taking from your shared city stash in case of emergency? Yeah. Not in Connecticut. Connecticut is small enough to be a county, though, let's be honest. And everyone agrees, then you can vote to have them redrawn, yes. It makes everything take longer, but it'll work. Other towns or cities in the county economically affect me, same with surrounding counties. Right. I was just talking about that specific case. Look at that. This is a nice jaw. This is the nicest mouth that I've seen on a Lego animal since the big Chima ones that were sculpted. I think this is harder to envision when the country is sparse and made up a lot of tiny towns that are all affected by the same events. Yes. But then, if you're affected by the same events, then what Hyan is suggesting, draw the line so that birds of a feather can flock together, right? Make that happen somehow. Again, we're just talking in hypotheticals. None of this is actually going to happen. Sunak announced a few weeks ago that they were spending a good couple million on new fighter jets, while most of the country is either freezing or starving because, priorities. Yeah, priorities. That's the thing about the Tories and the Conservatives here in Canada, is that their entire platform is built on fear, right? So, of course, people are going to address the fear instead of addressing actual problems. This is why we don't buy Swansons, because they fund the fear. Yeah. Not to go full circle with Ben Shabibo, but he said the same thing during the recent election, where the Republicans were not focusing enough on fear. They were trying to ride the coattails of a good America, when really they only win when it's scary America. Or, if we're talking about the president, they lose and then the Electoral College just makes them win. Which has only happened for Republicans, funnily enough. Alex, on the one hand, there's plenty of dumb spending in government. On the other, most things aren't actually this or that choices at a government scale. We had this issue in my university as well, where their budget is put into boxes, right? And once a box gets full enough, then you can put in money to that specific thing. So while I was there, the faculty of the university, their administration budget filled up and they were ready to spend. So they spent $8.2 million on a marble staircase that students can't use. And everyone was pissed. Everyone was pissed. Because why would you spend $8.2 million on a staircase that students can't use? There's also like an office on top of the staircase. But to build something that students can't use, meanwhile, classrooms are falling apart. They're being held together by duct tape, right? Faculty is leaving to go to better paying jobs, right? So I think, and Hein was saying this as well, yes, the budget is segmented into their little pots, but people should have a voice in at least what those pots are. Just my 2 cents, right? That maybe while people are freezing and dying, we can vote to reduce the military budget, right? Or we can put a hold on military spending, because who is the UK at war with right now? And got rid of nuclear power. Nukes removals were mostly German. Of course, they're pulling from different pools, but they decide to spend more effort on something that we don't use for 13 years rather than solving the immediate problems for now. The school board voted to return some of the tax money when we can't even get enough paras because the pay is lousy. And we're just like, yeah, so whatever that tax money was for, it got used up for that thing, and now you have to give it back, right? Because it wasn't in the other pot. I have no idea what's going on with the gas prices in Europe right now, which is why I'm not commenting on that. But, yeah. And part of it is just that these systems are far too complicated to make sense, right? They're far too complicated to make sense. So the easy answers, like spend more on heating and housing, like spend more on teachers and teaching aids and resources, right? Those are intuitive, but because of some weird thing in the system, they can't work, because the system is set up in a way where they can't work. And of course, that's far too complicated for us mere mortals to understand. That's why we have politicians doing it instead. Oh well. It's life. This is 3. The gas prices are because Europe was dependent on Russian oil. That's part of it too. This is what we call intersectionality, right? There is no solution to these problems, because these problems are built on the backs of other problems, right? So if you want to fix inflation, yeah, you need to reduce your dependency on Russian oil. You also need to reduce your dependency on oil. You also need to reduce your dependency on fossil fuel infrastructure, because that's how these problems start, because one kink in the chain can destroy the entire thing, right? And I think that's when 2020 happened, and it was like one disaster after another disaster after another disaster after another disaster, that's exactly what happened, right? all of these things that have sort of been half flowered for the past 20 years, 50 years, 100 years are starting to fall apart. They're starting to fall apart because of climate change. They're starting to fall apart because of corporate greed. They're starting to fall apart because of all of these other systems that we've put in place that make them fall apart. So what can we do? Scrap everything and start over. It seems like the only option, right? But we can't do that. A lot of people would go if it was that. The rest of Europe is putting meaningful caps on prices, putting energy companies into public ownership, implementing windfall taxes on private energy companies, and the UK is doing anything but that. Because the people who pay the bills won't get as much money. Hi, and it's more infrastructure weird. UK invested in LNG terminals and divested storage, so Russia being cut out means that gas linkages to Europe really going sideways. Game theory 200, unintended consequences happen and you don't know why. There's only so much throughout to and from Europe. It creates a weird short-term gluts in the UK and cuts off pulling from Europe's storage. A lot of the inflation in the US is just greedy companies. I would disagree. And I just rewatched. I don't know if you guys watched some more news, but they did a video on inflation like a month ago, and I just rewatched it today because it was on my YouTube suggested, where greedy companies are part of it, right? Employment standards are part of it. The pandemic is part of it, right? So we can't say inflation is caused by greedy companies because yes, inflation is caused by greedy companies, but regulating greedy companies is not going to get rid of inflation, right? The problem doesn't get solved because there's so many things feeding into it. And this is not, it sounds very doomer, and it's not intended to be doomer at all. But this is why I think education is so important, is because then once you understand how the world works, then you have the tools to fix it. We also kind of don't have enough supply for things because of China's zero COVID policy. Yeah. Which is why we shouldn't be relying on these sorts of things, people who don't follow our rules, to put it, kind of bluntly, for things that we need, right? If our resources are coming from China, then anything that China does will affect our resources, right? Not to say that's, bad or anything, but if you're trying to be independent, if you're trying to protect your own country as you see fit, depending entirely on another country for people to get to work, to get to home, to get to medical care, seems a little bit off, right? I really like this little oasis. I'm a huge fan of this bird. It's such a simple bird, but it works so well. And there it is. That's the set. A lot of extra pieces in this one. Let's put those away. Also don't have enough, so it makes sense. So like German usage is a thing, but it's largely filtered, weird, tangential to the UK pricing. Fair, but like Cheerios don't cost any more to make, and gas prices are going down, so why are Cheerios still expensive? Because this is part of the problem, not the entire problem. People figured out that you can charge more for less and get away with it. People will still buy it. So, and that goes up the entire supply chain, right? Cheerios are more expensive because because making Cheerios is more expensive, because getting the supplies to make Cheerios is more expensive, because the people who make the supplies realized that you can just raise the prices and people will still buy it. Both Rishi Sunak and Liv Truss have connections to Shell, so it's really no surprise that they're not doing anything given their vested interest in those companies making ludicrous amounts of profit. Exactly. Cheerios are a staple of a lot of households. They cost more to make. Okay, but Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a staple in my household. Don't come for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But that's one of those things, right? And people don't notice inflation unless it's like 2 or 3% per year, I think. And when we had the pandemic, we saw like massive corporate profits across the board. Because when people are told to stay home, they still want to go out. When people are told to reduce what they're buying, they buy more. When people are told to reduce what they're ordering, they order more. If annual COLA raises are a thing, everything gets more expensive on a regular basis. They have done the math and the prices to make sure that all of our food has not gone up in the least in the amount that price is inflated. The price of food for the consumer is up way more than the actual documented inflation. The price of a product is determined by what people pay, not by cost. This is why competition is important. This is why I would argue this is why regulation is important. Because competition, you can go from one expensive cereal to one cheap and one expensive cereal, and then the cheap company says, wait, somebody will still buy an expensive cereal? Let's raise our prices, right? But if they have regulations, then they can't do that. The CEO of Shell asked for a windfall tax because they have that much money and they don't know what to do with it. Yet Truss refused to do it, and Sunak said he's going to do it, but that hasn't mentioned it since he was implemented. That's probably one of those things that they're going to do behind the scenes. This is one of, coming from the American perspective, because I was living in the States at the time, this is one of the terrifying things that happened with Trump's presidency. And I heard that it happened with Boris Johnson's term as prime minister as well, is that while the head person is taking the public eye and making a mess and doing whatever, the shareholders and the people who are invested are behind the scenes doing like the bad stuff, right? The example that I keep bringing up, and I've probably brought it up on stream before, is the Covfefe thing, right? When Donald Trump misspelled coverage in a tweet, the entire country talked about it for like 3 or 4 days straight. And while the entire country was talking about it, the people that he appointed to the EPA were gutting the EPA, which means while everyone's looking at Donald Trump misspelling a word, the environment gets destroyed into the future. Climate change increases into the future, right? So this thing with the windfall tax and Shell, I would not be surprised if that has already happened and no one's talking about it. Sometimes I call coffee Covfefe now because of that. Yeah. And it was an inflated thing, because if you look at the word in context, it's coverage. It's a misspelling of coverage, right? But a lot of people say coffee. A lot of people say it's other things because that's what gets the clicks. That's the short-term gain. The long-term gain is that the United States is one of the worst polluters in the world and is getting worse, right? That's the cost. That's the cost of a cup of Covfefe. It looks like coffee, I get that, because it's got the double S and the double E's. But I don't think negative press coffee is a thing that exists. But yeah, that's it for the stream. We did it. We did the butthole tiger. We did the politics. We did everything that we needed to do. Oh yes, Boris Johnson was very obviously a persona designed to distract from the public, and he's using actual policy because he's the silly, goofy man with the silly hair. Exactly. But Boris Johnson, I would think, is smarter than Trump. At least he's more formally educated than Trump. Looking back costs and look forward costs aren't always neatly related. Right. It's not neatly related. But we can use that and other examples from that presidency not to predict what's going to happen, but to remind us that we need to look at what's happening, right? We don't need to only look at the negative press Covfefe. We also need to look at what bills are being passed. We also need to look at what decisions are being made, right? That's what that teaches us. I think you would like the Harry and Meghan documentary. It also talks about how the money affects the media and how they used it to hide things, and the racism, sexism, and mental health awareness. Maybe I will look into it then. Thank you for the stream. It's a rough day. This was really nice. It has been a rough day for me too. That was on inflation, not backroom deals. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Boris Johnson is very smart. He knows exactly what he's doing. I don't think he's as stupid as portrays himself, but he's still pretty stupid. He portrays himself as very stupid. Hate Inc. book also talks about the media and forces behind it. Y'all are just Yeah, but you're adding stuff to my to-do list, but why is my to-do list sad? Why do I have to learn more about racism? Did I not get enough of that from the one video that I made where people are still mad at me about it? Can I stop learning about racism now, please? Can I stop learning about wealth inequality and colonialism? I want to stop, please. But no, it's important that we learn this stuff. Yay, people are still fighting on that specific video that I mentioned. Yay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for hanging out with me. I was fully expecting to crash. The video that I made about South Asian comedians being racist, there are 5 different news articles. Last stream it was 3. Now there's 5 different news articles about it, and it's sending a lot of hate towards my page, and I'm not a fan. Also, read to listen to How to Train Your Dragon book. There's a happy book. Is it better than the movie? Because I like the movie. Righty ho, 'twas a good 3 hours and 20 minutes. Shall probably see you next week and continue to be angry about the state of the world and the fact that we have approximately 0 ability to do anything about it. Yeah, I hope I get to see you guys next week again. Hopefully I am done with work by then, so I can start a little bit earlier, go a little bit longer. Probably start a little bit earlier so that the Europeans have time to tune in. It's worse than the movie, but it's not horrible. Okay, maybe I'll just rewatch the movie then. Get home safe, some food. Yeah, I just looked outside the window and I can't see the street anymore because it's just fog. So I will have such a time getting home. Thank you all so much for joining. I will see you guys hopefully next week. Maria, if you follow her on TikTok, is watching Andor, and we are going to talk about it. I don't know if that's going to be at my regular stream time or if that's going to be later. But thank you for the follow, Revelette. I hope you've been watching longer because we're just wrapping up here. I hope it's one of those, I've been watching you for 3 hours and 22 minutes and I just remember that I need to follow you because I'm wrapping up. Rev for short. Thank you for following, Rev. Yeah, and you take care as well. I will see you guys hopefully next week. Stop button is here.